Welcome to Burning Yammer, the last episode of 2021.
It's the final count. Can we get sued for that thing? It's podcast. Actually, just play the whole song.
Claimed. WWE owns the rights to the fucking song that they don't even own.
If I see another fucking WWE claim, I'm going to scream.
It's fine. We're never reviewing another WWE show, so it's fine. We're specifically paid by AEW anyway. We're on the payroll, so it's
No, we're absolute AEW shills at this point.
I make millions of dollars on this podcast no one listens to that I edit. No.
We got to get that money that like Tranquilo Club gets and everything for being an AEW shill.
The high rollers. I'm Bert.
I'm Anthony.
I think my brain literally just said, "Say your name," and then I said, "I'm Bert," and then when I said, "Wait a minute, am I Bert or am I Anthony?"
Well, that's what this year will do to you, even beyond wrestling. It will make you question who you are.
You mean the greatest year in human history, 2021, that everybody
absolutely
loves? No, I mean, I'll try not to get into 2020 era worst year ever mode, because I don't need to deal with that. It turns out that they're all bad, all of the years that ever happened.
And they get consistently worse, and that's the only thing you can depend on.
Yeah, because of capitalism. But what we thought we'd do is everybody loves lists. You go.
Oh, they
love them. If there's one thing everybody loves in this late capitalist hellscape, it's lists. You know, like
lists of things you like. You know, you just log on, you see a list, and it's like, I like all of these things. Yes.
Or things that just get you to click through and read, like 12 reasons your wife secretly hates you, or six of the most racist SNL skits. You know, like just saying that makes you want to see what the content is, doesn't it?
Yeah, no, I mean Kandahar, but yeah.
Sorry.
Like,
bless you.
The Kandahar SNL skit is the most racist one. By the way, but
the
one where they literally sang about destroying the innocent.
That's the one. Okay, that's the one I was thinking of. But okay, yes. Next episode we'll get more into that list, but
yeah, I've got a deep dive on that one. It's going to be Todd in the Shadows up in this bitch on that song.
But this episode is the best of 2021 episode, where we go over our favorite things and least favorite things for very brief periods. I'm not going to hopefully not get too negative. Wrestling.
It's the end of the year. Like, we can be a little positive, you know.
Yeah, COVID-19 positive. Oh no.
Everyone's getting positive these days.
Yeah, I hear there's literally no chance you will not be positive within a couple months. However, I am locked indoors and recording a podcast, so I'm fine. All of you plebes have to deal with it.
Yeah, no, we're in our hermetically sealed podcast tubes, and we're good. We're only making.
And because I'm on AEW's payroll, I don't even need to work for a living. So.
Oh yeah, no, I mean,
Tony Khan pays. Yeah, he pays me. So.
Tony Khan writes the check, and I take it to Cody to cash it because he's the back.
Right. It's that part of the experiment. Yes, show off. Yes, he's in his Cody Rhodes shirt. I'm in my Serena Deeb shirt because I respect myself.
Loves
Cody. Well, we'll get into that on the list, maybe. I would be fascinated if that ends up being on the list, but. Sure. So we have several lists, and then we have some categories. It's Jeopardy, Family Feud, or something. I don't know what the fuck we're doing, but I mean, I thought we'd start. I mean, the main attraction is top 5 wrestlers of the year for each of us. Now.
See, in my opinion, I think like the wrestlers is an interesting topic, but I think like specific matches. Or
we can do that first. That was the other thing we gathered. But in that case, we can do that second. Yeah. Whichever. It doesn't matter to me. Can you tell I don't have a format in mind and we did this last minute? It doesn't matter.
No, we never have a format. I was woken up at the crack of 12:45
PM.
By Bert being like, hey, would you like to do a podcast episode? And I literally said, I love doing podcasts. Yes.
I do think it would be funnier if I texted you at midnight 45 to tell you we need to do a podcast episode today.
Emergency pod.
Yeah. Emergency. The year is almost over and I forgot.
I mean, which like this was actually a trick. We're actually doing an emergency pod. Ghislaine Maxwell found guilty 4 out of 5 counts.
Oh well, she's dead by the time we release this. Rest in piss. Dead due to Clintons. As is the common cause of death for pedophiles. But
see, I honestly wish that a lot of stuff would get unsealed because I guarantee that there is like a 1 in 4 chance that if we got like all the flight logs and we're able to compile stuff, there has probably been at least 3 wrestlers that went to Little St. James.
Sure. Well, speaking of unsealing horrible secrets that nobody wants to know about, our lists of top 5 wrestlers for the year.
Yes, we need like the trumpet sounds from the end times, you know. The wrestling rapture has happened, and all we're left with is the sex pest.
Is there a wrestler with like a trumpet intro? Does like
Miro?
Oh, sure, that's a good one. Yeah. Don't insert that here, though, because we'll get copyright claimed instantly.
God.
By the company that's paying us, for God's sake. Well, I mean, I will start with a spoiler ahead of time.
Mm-hmm.
On at least, on any of my lists, I have a 1 WWE thing. So, and you probably already know what it is, but we're not there yet. So, but on my wrestlers... Nope. So, I mean, I'd understand, and no, I'm getting ahead of, the game, but I mean, if that comes up, that's fine. There are good WWE wrestlers. The talent is not to blame for any of that business.
Yeah, talent is fine.
Yes, but I don't really watch it, so that kind of makes it difficult for me to be like Roman Reigns was the second, third, whatever. I don't watch him, so I have no idea.
I have watched probably 6 times the amount of WWE that you have. Sure. Because you love yourself.
Oh, no.
And I can say that for the most part, even on the stuff where people were like, wow, this is really good, it is a wasteland.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to make people very angry right off the bat, and like...
get that clickbait.
Yeah. One of the matches that was like, suggested to me hundreds of times, and they were like, oh, this is an all-time, was the Sasha Banks versus
Belair.
Bianca Belair.
Yeah.
Now, I love Bianca.
Same.
She is from Knoxville, Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
So she is a hometown girl.
Mm-hmm.
I love her. She is also like versed in Marxist black liberation, rhetoric and stuff like that. Love it. Absolutely love it.
Yeah, and Sasha's a COVID denier, but go on. Yeah. Sorry, I'm just trying to get as many people angry at me as possible right now. Go ahead.
But, I mean, I saw the match, and the thing is, the quality of wrestling in the year of our Lord 20 and 21 has gone up so much.
Yeah.
That I saw it, and I said, yeah, if I was, like, convalescing after a sickness that wasn't COVID-19.
Right.
Sure, I'd watch it, but other than that, it wasn't that.
Yeah, I can't speak too much on it because I haven't seen it, but I know y'all watched it, and you were like, hey, anybody who wants to watch this, come see, and I was like, oh, isn't that WrestleMania? That's okay. And then I was like, well, if everybody swears up and down that I need to see it. Maybe I'll watch it after that. And then I didn't really hear it brought up again other than, yeah, that was okay. So to me, that was like, yeah, that's fine. I'm not missing anything too crazy. Now, again, I do have one WWE thing on one of my lists, which we'll get to. But
perfect. So yeah, you want to start with our top 5 wrestlers?
I will gladly start, and then I have a treat. We'll do wrestlers, and then I have a treat, a trick and a treat at the end, because it's the new year and Halloween. I don't understand segues.
Well, actually, it's October 94th,
oh, no.
and
Jesus, it's January. It's December 812th, 2016, or whatever we're on. Anyway, so my number 5 best wrestler of 2021 may surprise you, as well as many other people, because I would call them a dark horse on the list. And that...
it's Warhorse, right?
Nope. That is the Bastard Pack.
Oh.
Now, honestly, if I could totally see people making the case to not put Pack on the list. But me personally, I have many different criteria for deciding who my favorite wrestlers are, and it's not empirical at all or sensible. But every time...
You cannot measure it in wrestle molecules.
Exactly. I can't be like, how many title defenses did they have? How many matches on... I'm not... And also, I don't do, like, the PWI thing where it's like... That's kind of the same thing, is how much TV time did they have? I don't have time for that. So, Pac, I believe...
How many grapple carbon molecules did they produce? Yeah.
I do think Pac was a victim of general COVID/visa weirdness. Yeah. So, he was not on TV for a decent portion of the year. But my thing about Pac is, every time he's on my television screen, I love what he is doing. He is a monster in the ring. He is, I think, underrated promo-wise. I think his character is awesome and kind of, I would say underutilized, but it's the fact that, again, he's been out of action and they can't bank on him, so it's kind of like you have to downplay it a little bit. Had a really excellent triple threat for the title that I think a lot of people have forgotten about because so much has happened. Honestly, I think if we were in a different time and place and things weren't so wacky, he would be at the top of the pile easily. As it is, I think he kind of ends up being a very, very good afterthought, but I love him to death enough to put him on the bottom of the list.
He is absolutely a victim of not only getting trapped in various COVID lands, but also, and this is a criticism that you can level against the Lucha Brothers, but they kind of, at the end of the year pulled it out with, their very good matches.
Yeah.
But, if it, with the whole Death Triangle thing, if it wasn't Pac being locked on Turf Island, it was Rey Fenix or Penta being held up due to travel restrictions in Mexico. And the thing is, with the exception of one match, which Pac was just kind of thrown in, because of, Rey Fenix not being able to make it his way earlier, with the exception of that one match, every time he's been on there, he has absolutely captured the television screen.
Yeah, and I thought he was even great in the beginning of the Cody experiment at Full Gear, where the entire match was blind tags. I was like, wow, if Pac wasn't in this match, I think it would be a lot worse.
Yeah, no, Pac elevated that match and made it good. So,
yeah.
Wow. Yeah, no, Pac, I wholeheartedly agree.
Okay, so who is your number 5?
So, my list comes with a few caveats. There are 4 people that absolutely deserve to be in the top.
They're not all Hook, are they? Because I will I will cancel this show.
Shut off the podcast.
No. Go ahead. few caveats.
And the four people that I'm talking about, they just deserve their own place. They're kind of a given, and so I didn't list them. And that is Hangman.
Yep.
For excellent storytelling and putting out a 5-star match.
Yeah.
Bryan Danielson. Duh. Kenneth Omega. Duh.
Punk.
Punk.
Yeah,
yes,
I was gonna say it's probably the other sensible one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love them. There's nothing against them, but as we all know, these lists, spaces on lists, they're at a premium.
Yes.
So
Also,
they just got to kind of sit off.
Also,
to the side.
to go along with that, which hopefully doesn't spoil anything on your list, I did not put Brody Lee on my list just because I love Brody to death, but it doesn't make sense for my list personally. I mean, dude was amazing, and I love that how everything has gone with what happened. But yeah.
This is a time-bending moment for me, but Brody died last year, right? Or was it at the beginning of this year?
I believe it was... Oh, wait, you might be right.
Oh, no. Was it this year?
I think it was.
There has been 10 years.
It feels like forever. Let me get you the exact... I believe it was literally the end of... You might be right. Oh, yeah, it was December 26th last year. Okay, so literally 4 days ago last...
Yes.
Okay, so...
Oh, God. Yeah,
so I'm fine. I got bailed out. And bad on me for forgetting that. But there's been so much... Because it was right at the end of the year, this was kind of the year of everybody talking about Brody and coming to terms with that. So, moving on, as you were saying.
Yeah. So, with that... list space being at a premium, I did not include them. So my number 5 might surprise, you might think about it for a sec, but it probably won't surprise you. Daniel Garcia.
Okay. Interesting.
Every time that man is on screen, he makes the most of it. He is good beyond his years. And he blends a style that I really like, which is hard-hitting but grappling technician that is just captivating to watch.
Yeah.
He is like a grittier version of Zack Sabre Jr., who is an excellent wrestler.
Okay.
And seeing, his semi-world of sport yet realistic MMA stuff is great. His feud that he's doing with Eddie Kingston, Eddie is elevating it because Eddie wants to kill him.
Yes. As he is wont to do. That is his natural behavior, is to want to kill people.
Which as a throwback to the pod, you know how we've been talking about, Jumbo Tsuruta and
Tenryu.
Genichiro
Yeah. You said just world of sport.
Standing across in these 6-man tags, and you can just see the JoJo tension lines happening, the menacing.
Yeah.
And Eddie and Daniel Garcia are doing that. I want to see them wrestle a full match.
Yes.
I want to see them kill each other.
Yeah.
And so Daniel Garcia is absolutely someone that I think we have to keep our eye on, and he has done nothing but impress me.
Yeah, I think that's a very good pick. It wasn't in top consideration for me only because, it's really funny. We watched Dynamite last night, and I would say in a match that I wouldn't say underperformed because the workers performed, but the booking for it did kind of smack a WWE for me. But most important, because it was a mechanism to get storylines across and have people get in each other's way. But for me, that was the first match I saw with Garcia where I was like, okay, this dude is one of my dudes now. Because I think for me, ring performance-wise, I always loved the dude. I thought he was great in ring. I really like kind of the aspect of his gimmick where he treats the wrestling seriously. I saw him on Twitter a few times, like, they would play like a clip of him getting beat up or losing a match. He'd be like, the reason I lost is because I didn't put this hold in exactly like, and I'm like, that's really cool. I wish people would do that more often. But for me, his personality was not coming across as strongly. And also he wasn't booked ideally until last night when I saw him like having that kind of fire to him, and I was like, oh, okay, I love this dude now. Like, and we're getting, luckily with 2.0, we're getting to a place where it's like, he's not gonna lose all the time. They're not injured.
Shout out to 2.0.
They're very good too. But yeah, I can see that. I think he was always good, but he's blossoming now, which is great.
Yeah.
So good pick. So number 4, I considered Britt for a brief period.
Mm-hmm.
And Britt is
sensible.
Britt is high on my list, but number 4 is Serena Deeb for me. Now, you have to understand, and I'm wearing her shirt right now, so I'm a huge Serena mark. Now, the thing I will say, as you had caveats, I have caveats here too. Serena did only work like 13 matches this year, and a few of them are like NWA Power and not AEW, where they're like dark matches. And the thing is, though, like, she was injured, and it's tough. My thing is, though, is when I think of women wrestlers that I took seriously this year and who were like really stood out and made the business something different, it's like her and Britt, and there's other people up there too, but those are like the star performers for me. And the thing is Britt has had more matches, but and she's a star, but she doesn't like.
She, until Riho here recently, she has not had a credible contender.
Yeah, and I think Britt, to be perfectly straight, is better on the mic than Serena. Although Serena is great on the mic, it's just Britt is like next level promo to me.
I don't know. See, I think it's apples and oranges. Definitely. Comparing their promos.
Yeah, it's not really comparable.
They are getting different things about their character.
100%. I totally agree with that. But the thing is like, for me, Serena, and the thing I love about, the shirt is the best women's wrestler in the world. Women's is crossed out. She doesn't go in there to wrestle like a woman, to wrestle women. She goes in there to fucking wrestle. And she puts on a show every single time. I still remember when they came back to Daly's Place, they had that show. What was that show called? I literally can't remember. The Stadium Stampede show.
That was... Yes, it was the that was Double or Nothing.
That sounds right. Yeah. But
where they were on the pre-show.
Yeah.
Serena and Riho.
I am so conditioned to a pre-show being silliness or just badness. I sometimes it's honestly good. I don't mind pre-shows, but like they usually don't, like, it's not something you have to see. It's just some fun to get you. And that performance was just excellent. Like, I was like, she is so great. And I had seen her like 2 times before, and even before that I was like, she's so fucking good, like, all the time. I don't even understand. And I've heard talk recently that she is backstage working with the women's division.
Oh.
And that makes perfect sense to me, because since she has been back, stuff has turned around. And it's not just because she's wrestling, I don't think. I think she brings this energy where it's like, the shit is serious. And it's not even, I'm not even saying like she goes back there and tells the women, this is what you should do. I think she is an example. Like, I think anybody watching her matches must be like, wow, she's good. What if I work like that? or just
Well,
have that.
you remember how about 3 or 4 episodes ago, maybe, I can't remember, we talked about how the women's division needs an advocate?
Yes.
Maybe that advocate is Serena Deeb, because she's been in, like, teaching positions before.
Yeah.
Like, she understands, like, what it takes to not only go out there and have a good match, but to teach how to have a match. Because there's a lot of people in wrestling who have no desire or no aptitude to teach.
Yeah.
Like, I love Punk to death. I don't think Punk could teach people.
I don't.
Anything.
Yeah, I don't think so. A thing to me is that every match Serena has, I mean, she looks great, but she always makes the other person look better.
Yes.
Like, than her. She just puts them so over. It's, I mean, I honestly think before her and Shida got reignited, I thought Shida was kind of languishing because she didn't have, like, that contrast, that person to fight against. And it just immediately gave Shida all, I mean, she just completely turned around for me. I was like, Shida's fucking awesome again. Again, not that Shida was bad. I love Shida too, but
Shida was another casualty in the, COVID stuff. Got locked in Japan, could not have, a lot of matches, and it was just an unfortunate turn of events.
Mm. So, yeah, not to belabor the point, but for me, for women's wrestling, Serena has, even just for me personally, she's been the most important thing this year. So, even being out.
Gotcha.
So, who's your number 4 in that case? Number 4.
So,
dun, 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 dun. We have like a
number
countdown.
4. Yeah. Oh God. So mine, I tend to watch a lot more indie stuff than you do.
I know who this is. Maybe. I'm guessing.
Not yet.
Okay. I have a guess though, but go
on. And so, like, one reason that led me to Daniel Garcia is I went back and started watching his back catalog, and I understood him a little bit more. And I mean, and this isn't a moral judgment or anything. Like, I just like to know where the wrestlers come from.
Yeah.
So this person has done so much in the time of COVID to elevate not only themselves, but the people around them in honestly dire circumstances, and that is the world Pan-African Diaspora World Champion, Trish Adora.
Okay. Nice.
The Afro-Punk Trish Adora, she is legitimately very good. She has a technical / hard-hitting style that few people can really, like, come across, get that across, and she's very good. Also, her finishing move, she uses a lariat. Can you guess what the name of her finishing move is?
Lariadora. That's an awful name. I hope that's not the name.
The Lariat Tubman.
Ooh, wow. That's a good name.
Yeah. It's a good name.
Okay.
And she kills people with it.
I did have another guess, but I'm guessing it's farther up your list, but that's fine.
Yep.
We'll get there later. But,
like, one thing about her that I love is, anyone can, like, come up with their own championship, naturally. Because it's wrestling and it's not a real thing. So the thing is that makes the Pan-African World Diaspora title different is that they actually went through the process of the old NWA, like, bureaucratic process. It is a legitimate world title that holds, like, a sports lineage, similar to the NWA title.
Yeah.
And Trish Adora is the first, world champion, and, she has held it for a long time, and it's taken on people like, Jordan Blade, Sugar Dunkerton, who is very good. Another indie wrestler that you absolutely need to keep your eye on. He was Pineapple Pete.
Oh, okay. Yes, that's how I know him.
Yeah.
Which, honestly, I kind of like that name more than Sugar Dunkerton, but whatever they want to go with, it's fine. Cheeseburger, also a great name.
And so, like, whenever you watch her matches, like, she has this ability to really make you root for them. Like, when she is getting beat up, because she's been, cast as the babyface for most all of it. When she's getting beat, she has this, like, fire and this, like, tenacity. You really feel it coming through on the screen. And, she is just amazing, in my opinion.
Nice.
Has a look to die for and carries herself like a star. You see her holding the, Pan-African World Diaspora title. And it is, you go, that's a star. So, that is my number 4, Trish Adora.
Nice. I'll have to check her. I think I've seen her on Twitter, maybe, if she uses Twitter.
Yes,
okay.
She does.
I'm pretty
sure. She's very positive, good follow, nothing but good vibes.
Nice. Well, breaking into number 3, I'm going to make up for your caveats on your list because honestly, I will say, like, there was no way I was putting Punk on my list, even though I love Punk to death.
Yeah.
It's just not, like, he hasn't had enough time and enough moments for it to be like that level of thing for me. But number 3 is the one and only Kenneth Omega. Now, I mean, I kind of had to put him here because, and I mean, I actually, a lot of people probably are like, you didn't put Kenny Omega at number 1 or number 2. And I have my reasons, but Kenny, I mean, it's hard to not say it was, like, I know, like, this was a long-term year for Hangman, and that Punk and Danielson kind of put AEW into a new place along with Cole, but, like, I feel like Kenny kept this company on top throughout this year. Like, he worked his ass off all year. There's a lot of tweets going around with end of year stuff talking about how he worked through being hurt, and I mean, I don't really support that. If you're hurt, please just take time off. But
yeah, please.
But I don't think it's a case of, like, Tony forced him to work. I think Kenny just loves wrestling so much and loves what he is doing and loves these people. The thing I wasn't as big on Kenny as I thought I would be earlier in the year, because one of the big sells for me getting into AEW towards the end of last year was, Kenny Omega's top guy. And I love Kenny Omega. I loved, like, the cleaner Kenny Omega from New Japan. But he was a heel, and Kenny is kind of cartoony as a heel at times. He definitely plays it up in a very over-the-top, goofy manner. But and so, to me, originally, that was like, I don't know how into this I am. But his ring work was pretty undeniable. He was fantastic all year. And honestly, like, I think by the time he got the belts, he got Don Callis. Don Callis was, like, the right move. He had the big, long intros, and it became like, okay, he's really leaned the right direction into this. And honestly, like, even when it was a matter of we need stopgap measures for the title, like Christian, I mean, they still had great matches. And that's not to be down on Christian, because that dude has worked his ass off too, and he put in a lot for that match. But I'm just saying, like, I don't remember Kenny Omega having a bad match in 2021, and he had a lot of matches. He worked a lot as champion. I don't remember there being a time being like, where's Kenny? It did not happen. That dude was working shows, like TV shows.
Yeah.
Doing the fucking Rise of the Terminator on a fucking TV show. So, yeah, I kind of had to put him here. I did have my caveats because, I mean, it's kind of, one, it's kind of obvious. And two, like I said, I wasn't huge on him at the beginning of the year. And there are other people I mark for and appreciate more. But, you know.
As far as a solid foundation and a workhorse, you cannot look farther than Kenny.
Yeah, and he's into cupping, which is kind of... I'm just kidding. But
keeps him out of the top spot.
Yeah, anybody... No. It doesn't matter, trust me. But, yeah.
Goddamn, got some heat from my brother about the cup denial.
Yeah, just wait till we get into astrology. Once we figure out, like the bunnies of Libra or something, I don't give a shit.
Oh, Kenny's an Aries. That explains it.
But yeah, that's my number 3. Who is your number 3?
So my number 3, once again, like once I kind of got the 4 people like that deserve praise and accolades out of the way.
Yeah.
It allowed me to experiment a lot more, and this person, every time...
I'm just kidding.
Not that kind of experiment.
Okay, you're fine. I'm just kidding.
No, great. This person, every time they were on screen, I wanted to see more. I wanted to see them succeed. It was... Anytime I heard that this person had a match, I was, already going to watch, but I was like vibrating with anticipation, and that is Dante Martin.
Okay. Fascinating.
Every time he's on the screen, I'm like, what's he going to do? How's he going to do it? Because it's not just that he does these death-defying flips and things. It's while he is in the ring... His slight mannerisms are what really sell it. And, it can be argued that he doesn't have much of a character outside. Yes, that's true. But he is so young, and, whenever you're on the indies, unless you're known as a talker, you kind of just have to develop your character in the ring. And that he has absolutely done. And... It's all of these little things, then it doesn't hurt that he just defies logic.
Yeah, 100%.
I mean, some of the things that he does, like, I would say that he is, in the same realm as Rey Fenix. Because, Fenix gets in there and does things that, just defy belief and explanation. And Dante, I think, was featured quite well in many different things. He fought Kenny at one point in a barn burner. Took him to the limit, and it was excellent. And so, I mean, like, nothing but good things to say, and his star is shining bright.
Yeah, I think the writing is on the wall for Dante. Like, he is clearly destined for big... And we were a little worried about what that meant for Darius, I believe. Darius Martin.
Mm-hmm. Darius's brother.
But I did hear just today, I believe, Tony Khan did a presser where he said, like, we just want to get Darius back, and I think Top Flight has a big future. So, like,
yes.
He is really pushing that we're not just breaking them up because Dante is a star now. Like, we believe in that kind of thing, which I think is very good. Top Flight were great.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, anytime Top Flight was on, I was like, wow. And also, their music, banger.
Oh, yeah. Very good music. So, Dante, he's kind of high in my top 10 area. It definitely a dude that, like, when he is on screen, it's like you don't even want to blink because you're going to miss whatever insane shit he does. And it's not even a matter of, like, there's insane shit like Mike Awesome powerbombing, Tanaka through a table. Like, and then there's stuff where it's just like, what did he even do? How did he do that? I think we've mentioned before that Dante, I've literally seen him do this like 3 times. He's just outside the ring, and he just does a backflip over the apron through the second and third rope into the ring onto his feet, and he just looks like, yeah, I just did. It's literally like you took footage and played it in reverse, and he just jumped into the ring, and you're like, and it's not a spot. He's not doing a flip onto somebody. He's just getting back in the ring, which is like
one of my favorite things that he does is someone will go to give him a snapmare, and he will flip out of it, take a few steps, and then turn and look at them like they are like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Like if they build it right and on a grand stage, he does that to, you know, a heel that has like real heat with them where the story is building up. That's a moment you put on a compilation. Like that's a moment you put like whenever AEW is playing at the very beginning. That's what you put.
Yeah. He's a highlight reel, which is crazy. Like his whole matches are just highlights, which is nuts. I have more to say about him later, but not on my list. It's a secret.
All right. Excellent.
However, getting down to number 2. My number 2, again, I felt a little conflicted about this, especially being that I don't watch WWE. My number 2 is Bryan Danielson. Now, I felt conflicted mainly because I really only started watching him again when he came back in September? Around that time. Which, if you think about it, is only 3 months? It feels insane that Bryan Danielson has been in AEW only 3 months. Because he is just nonchalantly tearing the place down. Like every single week. And it's just a matter of like, I almost wanted to, like mentally in the back of my mind, I'm like, you know, Bryan Danielson's a bit older. I've watched him work a long time. He has to work with these guys. Like, I don't know. I'll just make up excuses for why it can't be that good, can it? And it's literally better every single time. The dude just cannot stop. So it's kind of like
it's physically impossible for him to have a bad match.
Yeah, it was kind of just like, oh, I have to put him on the list because it's a matter of like, again, by my grading, I don't think he would normally. I mean, I love the dude, but it's not like what I typically look for. But it's just like, I just cannot say any, like, I don't know. If you look at it statistically, he's been there 3 months, and he's had, like, every match has been ludicrously good, which is...
He even pulled a very good match out of Aaron Solo.
Yeah.
Like, you know, it kind of went by the wayside, and this is not a dig against Aaron Solo. Unfortunately, I think the albatross that is the factory drags him down.
Yeah.
But like he had a great match against him, and like it defied everything because like you look at it and I mean it's not a barn burner or anything, but like I would say that match with Bryan Danielson and Aaron Solo, you could put that against like 80% of the matches going on in WWE.
Yeah.
And it's better.
Yeah, and the other thing is, like, I can't account for this, but from what I've heard, I mean, he was in WWE at the beginning of the year, and he was pretty damn good in WWE, too. I wasn't watching it, but I'm sure he was one of the better things on the show.
Yeah, he put Roman over.
Yeah.
Like,
and I'm sure they had a great match. Like, I didn't watch it.
Everyone forgets that he put Roman over a couple of years before, but they just acted like, you know, oh, this has never happened before. And it's like,
well, that was the before times with Roman. And just in general, yeah, like, you know, it was a different time and place. This is pretty hard.
It was a different time.
He put him over, but he wasn't over, is the problem.
Yeah.
But, yeah, Bryan Danielson, you know, there's not really enough good things.
Respectable.
He's one of the best in the world ever, so, you know.
Yeah.
Now.
Absolutely.
Your number 2.
My number 2. So, anytime This guy is an indie guy, so
Okay.
you know who this is.
I do, yes. That's good though. Go on.
He is so good at self-promotion on just social media and doing things himself. And he recently had a match with Matt Hardy, and put out a 2.5, 3-minute promo that Matt Hardy was like, "This is amazing," and that is Darius Lockhart.
Yes.
The honorable brother.
Yes.
The intergalactic soul. He is one of the most intelligent and technically gifted people that I've seen. I've actually had interactions with him on Twitter. Granted, that helps.
Yeah, it does
my
help.
opinion of him.
But hey.
Nothing but a kind and motivating person, because I just sent him a message out of the blue, and I was like, "Hey, I really like you, you're really inspirational," because I do believe this, and call me cringe or whatever, but I believe in being earnest. And he messaged me back and was just like, "That means a lot to me. Hey, you're doing great too."
Nice.
And you know what? But he
put you over.
He put me over. But Darius Lockhart, once again, he is very much into reading Black liberation theory, and his entire thing is be a revolutionary. This land is going to change hands, which, I'm honestly a big fan of, the idea of land back, because we have to do something to atone for our horrible evils as a country. And so to see that represented in a wrestler that is technically gifted, intelligent and cerebral in the ring, I haven't seen, Bert, you love psychology, and Darius Lockhart has a game plan.
I go to the therapist every week.
He has a game plan for every opponent, and that plays into the build-up of each match, and it plays into the match itself.
Yeah.
He's a great talker. He's recently been on NWA Power, which the NWA stuff, people rag on it, but it's actually pretty good in my opinion. It's mostly promo heavy.
Yeah.
And it has the old school NWA stuff, because most of the wrestlers showed up to, the TV studio with a little bit of an audience, and they talked for the most part. And maybe there was a match or two.
Yeah.
But there's nothing but bright stars for him and nothing but an upswing.
Also had a good match against Matt Hardy on Dark.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which, nothing against Matt Hardy, but Matt Hardy is broken down, and we have to recognize that.
100%.
He's in better shape now than he was at the beginning of the year. But he had a great match against Matt Hardy. Matt Hardy really liked it. And say what you will about Matt, he knows good wrestling. That's just the truth. So
totally.
Darius Lockhart is my number 2. We're going to go watch some Darius Lockhart eventually.
Sure. Well, that's a good pick. I do think that we probably have the same number 1, Anthony.
Really?
I'm almost positive.
Uh-oh.
Because my number 1 wrestler of 2021 could be no other person on God's green earth than Edward Kingston. Eddie Kingston.
Yeah, we did it. We did it.
Listen,
folks,
we didn't even know either. This was not planned, but come on. Okay. The thing is so when I looked at the list, it was kind of okay. Kenny kept the company together. Danielson just has had literally the best matches of his career, one after the other. Well, practically. He's had a few that weren't I wouldn't say he had like Bowens, and that was a good match. But I'm just saying it wasn't like 5-star classic, but it was still great. I'm just saying, like,
his Nick Jackson match was no slouch either, but it will go down as something like an afterthought.
But still, the majority of his matches were like unbelievably good. So I was like, okay, well, he has to go here. But the thing is, Eddie Kingston, even aside from matches, okay, even aside from wrestling, like, everything that dude has done this year has been perfect to me. I don't think he's capable of doing something I don't like. I guess if, like, I don't know, maybe he could stomp on a puppy on... honestly, I think if he did it, I might be like, well, wait, maybe that's a good thing. Like, I'd honestly try to rationalize.
Was the puppy evil?
Yeah, maybe it looked at him the wrong way, or it said something about the burrow. I don't know.
But... that puppy probably bit someone. I'm gonna wait until the whole story comes out.
But, like, okay, obviously in terms of life story, just real life story, the dude is just on the next level. I think he is the best thing in AEW by a country mile. Every match he has, it's like the dude wrestles like he's gonna die tomorrow. Like, it is his last match every match. It does not matter. He's incapable of, like,
toning it down.
He does not ever tone it down. His promos.
No.
This guy is in the same fed as MJF, CM Punk, like Britt Baker, all these people who do otherworldly promos, and I swear to, I think he might be better at promos than MJF in my book.
He's
better, and he does not, like, he gets credit, but I honestly cannot oversell Eddie Kingston enough. This entire year, and still, I am still constantly just like, this is my number one dude. I just want him. I want the best in every way possible for Eddie Kingston.
I want the man covered in flowers.
Yes.
I want him. So I have a long, like, viewership history with Eddie Kingston. I saw Eddie back in the 2000s, when everyone wrestled in pleather pants and, they looked vaguely like the Hardy Boys. And I've loved Eddie for a long time. And Eddie was one of those people that, like, he kind of, for me, dropped off the face of the earth for several years. And then I heard him whenever NWA Power was, like, restarted.
Yeah.
Pretty close to that time. And I saw Eddie. And instantly I was like, oh, because before, Eddie is a very flawed individual. And that is one of the things that is most compelling about it.
Yeah.
Because, before I kind of, like, lost interest / didn't see him, not to say that he wasn't around because he's always been there, but he sounded bitter and hateful in bad ways. Like, really negative ways. He was in a dark place, and so I'd kind of written him off, to my great shame. But then I saw him on NWA Power give this impassioned promo where he was like, I carry around a screwdriver in my pocket. And everyone tells me, Eddie, don't do that. And I was like, whoa.
It's like a Mick
But there was something different. Yeah, there was something different in his eyes, though, and it was the look, as someone who is a deeply traumatized person, Eddie, like, hits me in all the right places because he is deeply traumatized and he is, like, stared into the abyss. Not only stared into the abyss, but, like, bucked his chin up at it because he just has this fire that is undeniable in him, and I saw that, and I was like, oh, Eddie's back. And Eddie, like, you weren't watching at the time, but whenever Cody Rhodes was doing the open challenge for the TNT title, like, the previous couple of weeks, like, Warhorse had shown up, and, like, good good independent names that I was like, okay, this TNT title rules. And then I just heard Eddie. And if you haven't seen that promo where he cut on Cody before that match, it was
I remember.
insane.
Yeah. It was otherworldly.
And yeah, and Eddie has done nothing but show that he has a fire and a passion, not only for wrestling, but for life itself.
Yeah.
Like, him leading the charge whenever, everyone was, rightfully sad and crying at the passing of, Mr. Brody Lee. The speech that he gave, that is a locker room leader. Not The Undertaker, not that piece of shit who loves saying the N-word behind everyone's back, but Eddie. Eddie leads people. Eddie inspires people.
Yeah. And
there's something undeniable about him that I want him to achieve everything.
Yeah. I remember specifically, before I even started watching AEW, I just remembered I had like a memory about it recently. I used to listen to like the Brian and Vinny show, the F4W stuff, Wrestling Observer stuff. And they did reviews on, at the time, what you would think, and honestly this was the appeal of listening to their reviews, was a joke fed, the Urban Wrestling Federation. Do you remember this?
No, I was not tuned into wrestling culture at the time.
The idea, I wasn't either. I don't think, even Brian and Vinny, I don't think really knew what the Urban Wrestling Federation was before they got into it. But generally, the idea was like Grand Theft Auto for wrestling. Like it's all gangs instead of factions, and it's very marketed. You can probably guess how it's marketed. But the thing was, they would review those shows, and they were very like low rent, and they had all kinds of problems. But the wrestling was very good, and I remember specifically, like Tito Ortiz was on there, I think, and they were like, Tito Ortiz is really good on this show. And Homicide was good. And then they very specifically brought up how Eddie Kingston cut this insane promo. And that, to me, kind of says, like, back in, like, 2007 or whenever this thing was going on, Eddie Kingston was probably slumming it in the Urban Wrestling Federation, making some money. And he still was just fucking doing amazing promos all the time. He does not... I think, like, this man is just not capable of, like, giving 10%, of slacking off. He just cannot do it.
No, because one thing, if you remember, a lot of people slagged on this, and, like, the match made a lot of people's worse, which I don't think is fair.
I know what you're going to say, but yeah.
But after the exploding barbed wire death match, we saw the and Eddie sold it like death.
Yeah.
And the thing is, everyone seems to forget the next night Eddie was like, I had a PTSD attack, this, that, and the other, making an excuse for it. But Eddie said it with such conviction and such, fuck you, I have mental health issues, I don't give a fuck what you think, that I was just like, okay, no, this is fine. And him and Mox went on to just tear the house down every week in tag matches.
Kingston was legit.
Tear the house down.
He was legit the best thing about that match. And the thing is the finish was stupid. Everybody knew it was stupid. But the fact that Eddie sold for it, it's like you watched it and you were like, man, he just will not give up on that. Even like the face of just obvious failure, he believes in wrestling that much. Like, he will not sell out on it ever.
No.
So yeah, I'm glad we both picked it for number one, because it's like I thought it was hilarious. Now,
amazing,
and he deserves it. You deserve it.
Yeah.
Now, I have a treat.
Yeah.
because in my last minute preparation for this, I called somebody to get their top 5 wrestlers.
Oh, are you serious?
Yes, this is Bert's mom's top 5 wrestlers.
Oh, the only list that matters. Everyone. Nope. Dave who? Melts what? No. Bert's mom. Bert's mom. I don't even know her actual name. It's Bert's mom's list is the only one that matters. Let's fucking go.
It's like Trent's mom. It's just Bert's mom. Now,
whenever you leave the house, does your mom give you a little peck on the cheek?
She doesn't. I don't live with my mom anymore. Excuse me. Selling me out on the fucking podcast.
Well, we're podcasters, so
I sleep in a big bed with my wife, okay?
I sleep in a race car bed.
Yeah, okay. So keep in mind, this is not to slag on my mom, okay? That's not the point of this.
No, your mom is perfect.
And, well, I don't know about that, but...
Well, now we know about the therapy.
Yeah. But, keep in mind, she only watches AEW, and she only started watching back when I went to the New York show. So that was September 22nd. Yeah. So it's only been...
So that's like 4 months.
Yeah, it has not been that long. But number 5...
Fascinated.
Number 5... Well, we have some honorable mentions, which I'll get to at the end. Well, I guess I get to those now. The honorable mentions are Wardlow, because she thinks Wardlow...
Is this for you? Oh, this is her honorable mentions?
This is hers.
Okay.
Wardlow, she thinks he hasn't gotten there yet, but she thinks like once he gets out of the pinnacle, like basic, kind of advanced future fantasy booking. Hangman.
Love it.
Now, she likes Hangman, but she hasn't seen enough of him because he was out for a while.
Yeah, she wasn't there for the entire 2-year storytelling.
Yeah, like, honestly, I'm also kind of questionable. I mean, I love Hangman, but like, I need him to come into his own. He's getting there, obviously. And then Riho.
I cried when Hangman won, so
it's different. And then Riho is honorable mention because she likes the way Riho works, but again, hasn't seen.
She's only gotten to see Riho like 3 times, so
which may also be true for some of these other people. Number 5 is Orange Cassidy. Yes. I have notes where she gave them to me, but this is not one of them. But I have some trends I saw for this at the end, which I will psychoanalyze as I want to do in my therapist.
Oh no, are all her final wrestlers that she likes people who look like Burt Reynolds?
No, they're all Franz Kafka turned into cockroaches. Number 4 is Darby.
Hey,
which I like.
That's a good one.
Darby's kind of good.
Nothing but barn burners and tag matches with Sting. Like,
great. Number 3, she was hesitant about this because she doesn't like her, but it's Britt Baker. So my mom hates Britt.
Is undeniable.
But she had to give it to Britt as number 3. Number 2 is Dante. Because she says she likes the fancy work he does in the ring.
I love it. Amazing.
Can you guess my mom's number 1? It's not Eddie Kingston, unfortunately. That would be the funniest thing. I would laugh for days, but no, it's not Eddie at all.
Let's just edit it to where it is.
Eddie Kingston. Yay, thank you, Mom.
Oh. Is it Cody?
No, that I would say, Mom, I'm sanctioning it.
You just throw it in the trash.
Yeah, I do the Brody Lee Papers to her. No, fuck. No.
Fuck.
Number 1. Who the fuck is Griff Garrison? No, sorry. I gave him a heart attack. Number 1 was Ruby Soho.
Really?
Yes. Now, because she said Ruby has a very strong character, and she knows how to play to the camera. She is a very good
Her selling
actress.
is next level.
Yes. And the trend I saw here, I do have one more honorable mention, but that'll be later. The trend I saw, and I think all of these performers have in common, is they are very flashy. And they're like showmen or showwomen. So I think the thing is, if you tuned into this show and you had never seen it before, and you saw any of these people, you'd be like, what's this about? What are they doing? Whereas if you tuned in and you saw Bryan Danielson and Hangman having a 60-minute match, you'd probably be like, oh, this is wrestling. Okay, well, I'm going to go check something else. They'll probably still be wrestling when I get back, which is true. But all of these people are like, they're characters, but they're not, I'd say they breach into being very, very strong characters on the character side. But they also, like Dante's less of a character. It's more just, he does crazy shit. So where you watch him, you go, wow. So I think these are kind of gateways into wrestling. I think if you don't know the sport as much and you're not as invested, you see these and you're like, wow, they're really cool. Maybe this wrestling shit is really cool, you know?
Because I mean, just think back to like our introductions to wrestling. Like, you know who my favorite wrestler as a kid was, who was big, bright, and flashy?
Hulk Hogan.
That's Hulk Hogan. Who was yours, Bert?
Ultimate Warrior.
Yeah. No, there you go. There's no shame in it. We didn't know they said the N-word back then.
Well, we'd be at each other's throats because Hulk Hogan needs to put those controls into a nosedive.
Open the cockpit door, Hulk Hogan.
But yes, I do have one more honorable mention, which ties into some more from my mom. She said, whoever is facing Adam Cole. That's on her top list. Because she also gave me a list of top 5 wrestlers who are her least favorite.
Oh no.
So Adam Cole.
Oh no, are we gonna have to put your mom out back?
My mom does not
like Adam Cole. Are we gonna have to put your mom in the cockpit?
I don't have a Hulk Hogan for my mom. But yes, least top bottom 5 wrestlers for 2021 for my mom. Adam Cole.
Okay.
Shouldn't sense. Really say why. Well, I guess it makes sense. He's a heel. I don't know.
Well, he's a. You look at him and you go, "That smug fuck." Like he's doing greasy. His job. Yeah, he's greasy. Like
now,
he looks like the kind of person who is greasy on an airplane that will smack a stewardess's ass.
Yes.
Like.
Next on the list, Matt Hardy. Now.
Okay.
My mom said, I asked her why. She said it's an old thing. I said, like, because he's old. She's like, no, I didn't like Matt Hardy back in the day. So my mom is a hipster Matt Hardy hater. She hated Matt Hardy before it was cool.
Okay.
Yeah, which I found fascinating.
Was she only experiencing the V1 Matt Hardy?
Oh no, it was before then. We weren't watching during V1. I think she was a Jeff Mark. So it was like, why is this Matt guy dragging Jeff? Or, you know what I mean?
That's a classic argument that I haven't heard in a long time.
Yeah, well, we were watching it a long time ago. Number 3 is, these aren't in any order, but MJF.
Natch. I mean,
yeah, well, what are you going to do? Now, I have a funny end to that later in a minute, but MJF is on her least favorite. Bryan Danielson. She said, I asked her why, because I knew you would make that face. Like, she said, first of all, she said, I don't know why. And then she said, he's too brutal. So, again... She just, she's not into the violence. So, like, and Bryan Danielson kills people. And also he makes baby faces sell for a long time, and she's not a fan. She wants babyface to go over. So it's kind of like she hates that guy. And lastly, Brandon Cutler, who he's always cheating. It's bullshit. She didn't say that, but she said he's always cheating.
Oh my god, I love it. Yes. I love
it's that unfiltered Now, to be fair, Brandon Cutler is evidently hateable, but I kind of love Brandon Cutler after that fucking geek match.
I love him, but
yeah.
But seeing a new fan's perspective, I go, yeah, I can see why they hate him. All this dude is just running around with some cold spray, just
Yes.
Fascinating.
So, I have some more from her later in the other categories.
Okay.
But those are all valid except for Bryan Danielson.
I understand her reasoning, though.
I do get it. It's a preference thing. I don't think it's like, Bryan Danielson sucks, he can't even wrestle. Then I'd be like, fuck you, Mom, shut up. Gonna go listen to Papa Roach, leave me alone. Okay. So.
Cut my life into pieces. Exactly. This is my electric door.
Damn it. Top 5 matches of the year.
Okay.
So, number 5.
All right.
I don't know if this would be on a lot of people's lists, but number 5 for me was Bryan Danielson versus Minoru Suzuki Rampage buy-in. Now, Bryan Danielson had a lot of good matches. And he probably had technically better matches. But my thing is, most Bryan Danielson matches are different from the other ones. He really, changes it up depending on who he's fighting and why he's fighting them. And so for me, a diehard Minoru Suzuki mark. This was a dream match for me. I know people talked about how Omega Danielson was a quote-unquote dream match and Hangman Danielson was a quote-unquote... I get it. They are, but this was like a dream. This is a match I would actually have in my dreams, literally.
Yeah, that is true fantasy booking.
Yes. And by the way, this was on the Rampage buy-in.
Yep.
This was not on the actual show. I'm pretty sure you can still see it on YouTube.
You absolutely can.
There was a point in this match where Suzuki hit Danielson and he went down and Bryce made a face, and it was just for a strike, it was just stuff you can't book that kind of stuff. It just happens and you watch it and you're like,
it was like Bryce just saw a tornado snatch up a house, and then it was nothing but a clear sky. Something inexplicable beyond all belief, and he's just like...
Yep. The other thing... Yeah, and this match was not a draw. I know in my brain that Bryan Danielson won, but, this did not hurt Minoru Suzuki's aura at all.
He's the king. He's the king.
He's a legend, and it was a legendary match. So for me, this came in at number... It was not a quote-unquote perfect match, but for me, it was... It over-delivered for something I wanted to see in the first place. So it comes in at number 5.
Yeah. So, a caveat to my matches is 2 things. One, even though I named, 4 wrestlers that were exempt from the number 1, that does not mean that they are exempt from their matches that they have. That's good. So, yeah.
Yeah.
And then 2, for me, matches have to have this emotional component.
Yes.
As well as, just being good matches to, really get into me.
I agree.
And that's one reason that, Johnny Gargano versus Tommaso Ciampa, the first, 4 matches of that series are next level, because there was so much emotion. Same with Hangman.
Yeah.
That was an emotional build, and I saw ups and downs, peaks and valleys, and, just, so those are the caveats for mine.
I agree with those too. Those are caveats for mine as well.
Excellent. So mine, I was looking forward to this indie match for a long time from a, little known wrestling company called Enjoy Wrestling.
Okay.
And this one, I waited for the YouTube show to come out, and they released it in parts, an entire pay-per-view quality thing that was very good. And this was for Enjoy Wrestling Night Moves, Darius Lockhart versus Lee Moriarty.
Nice.
This was right after Lee Moriarty had been signed with AEW.
Mm-hmm.
And so Lee was like doing his round, finishing his dates.
It's like a parting shot kind of thing, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. And the build up to Darius Lockhart and Lee Moriarty, Lee Moriarty is, Tyga style, that's his branding. And then, Darius Lockhart, his branding is, literally a Black Panther, from the 70s.
Yeah.
Handing out, food to children and getting people tested for congenital diseases.
Yeah.
And doing more for their community than anyone from the government ever did.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was billed as Tyga style versus Panther style.
Yeah.
And they had all these promotional materials that, harkened back to, the Hong Kong films of the 1970s.
Nice.
It was so good, and the match was technical expertise on display. The psychology of the match was Lee Moriarty is a very good technical wrestler, but he was going up against Darius Lockhart, who is a more proficient technical wrestler. And that was the entire story of the match. It was back and forth. It was a technical masterpiece that anyone from any era could look at and go, that's good.
Nice.
So, highly suggest it. It's on YouTube. So, watch it.
Check it out. Nice. Yeah. Now, number 4.
Number 4.
I originally had this as MJF versus Darby Allin because that match kind of spoke to me personally. However, I made a last minute change.
Okay.
And my number 4, surprisingly, is Ilya Draganov versus Walter at NXT TakeOver 36. It took me a while to get around to watching it. Meaning I watched it today.
See, this is very funny because I considered watching that just because on all the top lists that I was looking at, people were like, you have to see this match, and I love Walter. I don't like his packaging in WWE as much as I did whenever he was on the indies, but, hey.
Yeah.
But yeah, I heard nothing but glowing reviews for this.
Yeah, if you haven't seen it yet, I highly recommend that you somehow get some channel to watch it without paying WWE. But But I had never really seen Ilya Dragunov before. I'd seen Walter plenty, and I mean, you can take one look at Walter and go, "Oh yeah, that guy rules." You don't really even need to see him work; you just know. But this match, how do I even explain it? It's like. I don't like calling it like David and Goliath because I think the idea of a David and Goliath match is that David overcomes insurmountable odds in kind of a John Cena way. You do one big thing and overcome the odds. This was like Ilya Dragunov was a smaller guy, but he was a monster in his own way. Okay. He had a bandage over his head at the start, and I was like, what's that about? Like, it wasn't like a Band-Aid, it was the strips, it was like a white square taped on his head, and I'm like, what's that about? And he had literal stitches in his fucking forehead, and he was wrestling with them in his forehead. And they beat the absolute shit out of each other. And it's not like it's part of like the old British / strong style type stuff, but it was also like all of the moves. Sometimes I'll complain in women's matches that things are very telegraphed. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of like things are slower and less fluid because people have to let them know that the things are coming. You know, you can't just lash out at somebody. But this match was like moves. It was like I was watching stuff happen naturally. I didn't feel like there was anything in the match that was choreographed, even though I know a lot of it was called. It was like sometimes they would make up moves for the situation they were in just to hurt the other person. Okay. And the crowd was ungodly hot. The announcing was excellent. It was one of those announce. I don't know the NXT announcers.
Was it Bad News? Was it?
I don't know. I know there was a man and a woman, but I don't know who they were.
It was probably Beth Phoenix then.
If it was, excellent on announcing because she was very, very good. She called like a short arm scissor at one point, and I was like, oh, she knows what she's talking about. Hell yeah! And but finish is amazing. Ilya's. Man, I mean, Walter's amazing, and I think Ilya outworked him in this match. And even in the case of, like, character and facial work and all that stuff, I had never seen the guy before, and it was, like, superstar-making performance. So I'd recommend you check it out if you get the chance.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because it sold me over, and I don't even like WWE stuff. Even NXT stuff, I mean, I like some of it, but... I mean, especially not nowadays. I had to kind of go out of my way to make sure I wasn't missing anything, and I was missing something. So, yeah. So that's my number 4.
So, my number 4 pairs well with your number 5 because while I truly loved the Minoru Suzuki, Bryan Danielson affair, I absolutely fell in love with Eddie Kingston's performance against Bryan Danielson on the October 27th edition of Rampage.
Yeah, that was a great match.
It was like, for me, like Bryan Danielson, had the 30-minute Broadway with Kenny, and while that was a very good match and I love it, it did not have the intensity that this match had. This was like, I think 10.5 minutes of both of these men trying to kill each other.
Yes.
And Eddie is a master of building interest for his matches in a short period of time. Mm-hmm. Like, one thing that I didn't get to say earlier with Eddie was, if we remember, like, he had a week to build his match against Miro. Mm-hmm. And that was one of the most must-see matches on there for me.
He made merch in that week.
Yeah.
Like...
Yeah, Redeem D's Nuts.
Yeah.
Amazing shirt.
Crazy.
His match with Punk, like a 2-week build, and that was, I have to see this match.
Yeah.
And with Eddie Kingston versus Bryan Danielson, it was, they built it on Wednesday, and then they had the match technically on Friday,
Yeah, yeah.
But during that time, I was like, I can't wait for Rampage. I can't wait. And this was just Eddie Kingston showing why he is so good. He sells so well. Daniel Bryan absolutely got the shit knocked out of him. And for me, this was Bryan Danielson's first, like, real test of, can you still go? And he met the wall of Eddie Kingston, and both of them came out sharper than ever, because this was amazing. Love that match. Adored it.
It was excellent. I debated heavily switching it out with Suzuki. I think the only reason I put Suzuki instead was because, like I said, Suzuki's a legend to me, whereas Kingston is the most over guy in wrestling right now. So it's very, very tough. Like, I honestly think Kingston might be just under, like, number 6 with a very close, photo finish for me. But I mean, I watched it twice. That's a hard match to watch in some places. That's like, whew, they are murdering each other.
Can I tell you how many times I watched that match?
How many?
I've watched it 7 times.
I believe it. And it's only 10 minutes, so that's like it's like watching the Hangman Danielson match once. But yeah, excellent pick. Totally agreed. Number 3.
Okay.
Number 3 for me was a pretty easy choice. It is Thunder Rosa versus Britt Baker's St. Patrick's Day Slam Unsanctioned Lights Out match.
Okay, yeah.
Now, I feel kind of conflicted because I didn't put Britt in my top 5, and yet I didn't put Deeb on my top 5 matches. And I also didn't put, spoilers, I didn't put Kingston in my top 5 even, because for me, Best Wrestler is mostly more about, like, it's about a lot more things than just match quality. And a lot of times people can have 1 or 2 amazing, I mean, honestly, I love Britt to death, but this was her match for the year. A lot of her other matches were good, but, they couldn't be on this level if they tried.
Well, I mean, once again, she suffered an injury at a very inopportune time in her title reign, and I think that's one reason that we haven't gotten to see her too much, because she had that wrist injury.
Even then, I would not expect every Britt Baker match to be a lights-out, unsanctioned match against Thunder Rosa. Like, it's very specific.
No, she would look like a piece of fucking beef jerky if she did that. Yeah. Jesus.
So I remember at the time watching this, and I hadn't really gotten much out of the women's division AEW at the it was earlier in my watching the show. And I remember getting 3/4 of the way through the match, and I think I literally said out loud, like, this probably is the best, like, non-Japanese women's match I have ever seen in my life. Like, it did not have much competition. It was like, as far as Western women's wrestling matches go, it was unbelievable. Now, granted,
we were all in the Discord, watching that match together, and I remember, like, Jenny, Aaron, me, you, and Meredith and Mallory, and we were all losing our minds at how insane it was. Like, Mallory at one point, she gets pretty squeamish about stuff, and so she had to, like, minimize the window and kind of listen to what was going on for a little while.
It's like a horror movie. But yeah, for me, I mean, I loved Britt before, but this was like, for me, it was like a Stone Cold Bret Hart switch thing, where, like, that when that match happened, you knew Stone Cold was the thing.
Yeah.
And this match made you realize, oh, Britt is the thing. Yeah,
because up to that point, like, Britt, I'm not going to lie, like, when Britt first started out in AEW, she was not that good. And that may piss people off, but, like, her timing was off. She was light as hell. And it was just a lot of inexperience. Like, and so Britt, her character was on point because, like, she had the matches with Big Swole.
I remember that.
And had the cinematic match that a lot of people forget, the, tooth and nail match in Britt's dentist office, which was fun. I liked it.
Yeah.
But
it's better than the Firehouse Firefly. Everybody will hate me for that one, but yes. Go on.
But, she had gotten her character over because even whenever she got her knee injured, like, she developed the whole role model thing.
Yeah.
The training montage of her in the wheelchair is still one of the funniest fucking things I've seen in wrestling.
Yeah.
so hilarious. And so she had her character over, but she didn't have a catalog of matches to back it up.
Mm-hmm.
And whenever I saw this match, I was like, oh, now it begins. And it honestly did, because she was an undeniable star at that point, and I love Sheeta to death. We've mentioned, the shortcomings of the pandemic before, but it was an inevitability that Britt was going to be on top.
Yeah, and also, Thunder Rosa has... I know I said, like, Serena has been the big mover in the division, but Thunder Rosa is the workhorse of the division. She is making stars constantly. I mean, honestly, I think she gets a lot of credit, and it's still not enough. She has done so much. I hear constantly in the group, like, man, Thunder Rosa should be on TV more. She should be on the main show more. And I'm like, yes, but I'm sure there's a reason. Yeah. I'm sure they don't want to work her, because my thing is, every time I see her, she is going a million miles an hour, laying it in. So I don't think it's good for business to have her working every week. You'd probably kill a few people. But yeah, just the both of them. There's such a thing to me as garbage matches where, you have thumbtacks and that's a workaround for them. This was not that. It accentuated the feud. It was a blood feud. All of the spots made sense. Just next level stuff, storytelling wise. Yeah. It was very good. So yeah.
Amazing. Well, this segues nicely into my number 3 match, and full disclosure, I was live at this one, so it may color it.
Okay.
But my number 3 was Nick Gage versus Chris Jericho, July 28th, AEW Dynamite.
A wild match.
A wild match. Now, like, I could go into the things of they just did wild shit, and it was wild, wild enough to make my list just on that alone. But the thing is, I look back at certain points of Chris Jericho's career where he has truly done some wrestling genius stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like, starting with, like, the 1,000 holds of Jericho and stuff like that, being like a comedy genius, moving on to like his 2006, 2008 run as the Honest Man. And the labors of Jericho, while it sounded stupid at first, once I started realizing what Jericho was doing, and that was he was putting a capstone on his career of things that he had not done in a while or things he had never done. And so once it came to the labor of Jericho facing Nick Gage, it was going to be a death match. And to my knowledge, Jericho had never been in a death match before. Yeah. And the reason that I think that this one transcends a lot of it is because this was AEW, a variety show of wrestling, because there are many things you can pick and choose and like and dislike, because there's stuff for us, the hardcore fans, the Bryan Danielson and Hangman, hour-long Broadways, and then there's, like the colorful stuff, like Orange Cassidy doing his thing for your mom. And this one was AEW putting on the most transgressive thing that has been on television in probably 20-25 years.
Yeah, that was my thing, was, like, to my knowledge, outside of, like, maybe some closed circuit stuff or some very weird business, like, or pay-per-views with weird stuff, there really hasn't been a death match on television, ever.
That's not that I can recall.
Yeah. So, Yeah, I kind of still think of this match as taking place in like a parallel universe, like another dimension. Like I kind of like, did that happen? Yeah, it did happen. It's just crazy every time I think about it.
So yeah, like I was there live, and to see Nick Gage work live, he had the crowd oohing and awing and like cringing to themselves.
Yeah.
Like it was amazing. Whenever Jericho went through the glass, I was close enough for glass to go flying by me. It was amazing.
Yeah.
And so yeah, just because it is the most outrageous and transgressive thing without being like, you know, racist or misogynist or just, you know, shitty and bigoted.
Yeah, it's not objectionable. Yeah.
Yeah,
like,
it truly was pushing the envelope. Like, if, you know, the silent majority was still around and they saw this on their television, they would have passed out and died.
Yeah.
Seeing
which would
this.
rule.
Yeah, which would absolutely rule. I need to take this match back in time to change a lot of history.
It's like when you go back and watch like a season 1 episode of The Simpsons or something, and you're like, whoa, what the fuck is going on? I did like it. You were also live and didn't get to see the Pizza Cutter advertised. We are all texting you, I'm pretty sure, like, oh my god, they showed the Pizza Cutter ad right when he did the pizza. It was very, very fun.
Amazing.
One of the better moments of 2021. So great pick.
I was dying laughing.
Awesome. So number 2.
Wonder
may
if
have
this
some
one's
overlap in the
up.
top 2.
Yeah, I think we're going
Number
to line
2
up.
for me is Kenny Omega versus Hangman Adam Page at Full Gear. Might be switched around, which is fine.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine.
Spoiler alert, this is my number 1. So we can talk about it.
I had a tough time switching these around. So first we'll talk about this one. And we'll each take our time. So for me, this was an amazing match. God, over a year-long build? It's been like 2 years.
Yeah.
It's been a long time. And, I mean, Hangman's been... I think part of what really made this for me is I had only seen a little bit of Hangman wrestling. I mean, I'd seen him in Japan before, and he was cool. And I'd seen, like, a little bit in AEW, but it was mostly, like, before he left, where he was wrestling, like, you know, one guy, or he's wrestling with the Dark Order, his little things. It wasn't, like, big matches. And I think he had a match with Kenny. Yeah, I saw some of his tag matches with Kenny. But, like, it had been a while. And most of the time it was, like, Hangman does, like, he's like a typical, I'm not saying he's bad, but he was more like a typical, he did like 3 or 4 moves, and then he won with the buckshot, which is a great move, and it was good, but it wasn't like, he wasn't like doing all kinds of crazy flashy stuff. It was more like storyline character based.
Something missing.
Right. But then, like, this whole story happened, they did the build really well, and then he came back for this match, and, like, we were pretty sure he was winning the title. And the thing is like, my concern was, well, if the match isn't that great, I mean, he's been, even outside of the fact that Hangman's good, he's been off for quite a while. This is his first match back. Like, there's just so many questions about it. Like, what if the match isn't that great and he wins? What if it's not as good as it should be? What if the story doesn't have the right feel to it? You know, like, I was worried, pretty damn worried the whole show and the whole build. And it over-delivered. It was an amazing match. It was everything you wanted out of it, short of Kota Ibushi coming out and, like, you know, like,
well,
like
Kenny
the Bucks
staring
came out
at
and
the
did
sign.
that.
Oh God.
Yeah, Kenny was incredible. The Bucks were even great in their limited role. Don Callis was good. The length of the match was perfect. The builds and the storytelling, the right man went over. It was a Cinderella story. Everything was just perfect. I don't really have anything bad to say about it. It was excellent. I can definitely see it being number 1, especially if you're more invested than I am. If you've been there for the 2 years or longer.
Yeah. So here's the thing. When AEW first started, I was right on board, and I, saw Hangman fight Chris Jericho for, the inaugural, AEW championship.
Mm-hmm.
And I liked Hangman, and he had, like, some good promos leading up to it, but it felt like I had seen it before.
Yeah.
It didn't feel, I don't know. And I wasn't that big on Hangman.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he had his little mini feud with MJF over the first Dynamite Diamond ring, and I was like, eh. And then he started in with Kenny tagging.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, okay, there's something there, and they put on good matches. And the very first AEW show that I went to was in Atlanta, and I saw Hangman and Kenny fight the Lucha Brothers.
Which was
live.
Incredible. Yeah.
Yeah, and, to date, that is the greatest tag match I've ever put, regular tag match that I've ever put my eyeballs on.
Yeah.
And so things started to build, and I was like, okay, and I started watching Being the Elite, and Hangman was doing a lot of, like, fun, goofy stuff, and I was like, I actually relate to this guy. He's pretty fun.
Yeah.
And, like, when the pandemic started, he had the funniest reaction to it, and objectively the best. He said, I'm going home.
Yeah.
And Hangman went home. And he filmed himself several times, like, just in his house, looking for things to do.
Mm-hmm.
At one point, he was in full wrestling gear in his living room, doing buckshot lariats to pillows. He just had me dying. And then the Dark Order stuff. And Hangman embodies a lot of the ennui and angst and trepidation that a lot of young people feel going forward. Hangman is never sure about the future. Yeah. And this plays into his character so well that, like, there are certain wrestlers at certain times that, like, embody the feel of the entire, or the majority of the nation. You can say that Stone Cold, embodied the fuck your boss, flipping everyone off, I don't give a shit, edgy 90s, and he absolutely did. Mm-hmm. And you can look at Hangman Adam Page, and he embodies, like, what we're going through, because he is unsure of himself. He is, failed many times, calls himself a failure, but he keeps striving, and that is the most important aspect of the story. And seeing Kenny the entire time putting him down and being like, you're, a B plus player.
Yeah.
At one point he even said that.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, there's not much to say about the match beyond go watch it. It's one of the best matches of all time.
Yeah.
I can easily say that. And with the emotional appeal to it, it's beyond.
Very few things in wrestling are built up over 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
So your number two is probably my number one, but go ahead.
Yeah. I was going to say, just real quick, like, one reason that, like, I fell out of love with WWE was because there's no way to invest in a character long term.
Right, yeah.
Because they're either going to be doing something completely different than what they were doing in a few weeks' time. They're going to, like, just not be on TV, or they're going to get fired.
Scripts change hour to hour in WWE, too. They literally he just tears up stuff an hour before the show. And
so to have AEW in the modern era, like, give me a consistent... It's not perfect. Consistent product where I can still get behind. I'm getting behind Eddie Kingston.
Yeah.
Like, and the crowd is behind Eddie Kingston. That man can come out and just stand there, and you can feel everyone loving him.
Yeah.
Like, and so that's one reason I think AEW is the biggest success, and one reason that most of my matches are from AEW.
Yeah,
so,
I mean, it's the same for me. So,
yeah.
Okay. Now you're number two.
Yeah, my number 2 is your number 1.
Maybe. I think so.
We'll see. Yeah. But my number 2 is the Lucha Brothers versus the Young Bucks in a steel cage match. AEW All Out, baby.
Yes, exactly.
And the reason, this is probably like a more fun and watchable match.
Yes.
Fun isn't quite the term. It gets pretty brutal.
Yeah.
But, the storyline aspect of Kenny and Hangman is what, brings it over the top.
100%.
But,
yeah.
Nothing taking away from this match. This is... So tag team cage matches have been done many times in wrestling, but rarely good.
Yes.
Because there is no tagging, and if there is tags, it's always weird, because it's like the cage is supposed to represent no rules. Like, WCW did that a couple of times, is fucking odd.
Yeah.
And so, tornado tags, other than the spectacle, are a lot of the time, hard to watch, because you don't know who to look at, what's going on, and the camera crew misses a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Not so in this match.
No.
These teams are perfectly synchronized. They are absolutely at the top of their games. They knew how to get that emotional reaction from the crowd. Like, at one point, the Bucks are tearing off Penta El Cerro's mask, and, people are jumping up and down like, you can't do that!
Yep.
Losing their minds. They brought back the thumbtack sneaker. I love that spot. It's great. It's wonderful. There's a masterpiece.
Yeah, the thing for me, I mean, I do agree with you that the long-term story-wise, or even really storytelling-wise beforehand going in, it doesn't have that same thing at all. For me though,
it does have a lot of story, but not as much as Hangman.
It's all in the match. It's all told through the match, and I think the thing that was most impressive about this match to me was that if you don't know, I'm a fan of experimental wrestling. This match to me is the equivalent of how people talk about Bobby McFerrin making a whole album with just his voice. It's just a limitation.
Yeah.
I'm going to do a whole entire song where it's just pieces of my voice. No, I'll do a whole album with that. This was like that to me. It was we're going to have a tag team title match in a cage with no ref and no tags. And also, generally keep the weapon stuff to a minimum. And we're not going to, have one guy go out of the ring, have two guys go out, do a spot, fall down, have, the typical stuff. And so that's how do you even do that? My brain is that sounds like a fucking nightmare. I can't even imagine how you do that. And somehow, and honestly, I don't think they planned it all out. I think they fucking called a lot of it, which is just, even thinking about it is insane to me. And I just remember watching it being just constantly, my brain and my mouth were going, how are they doing this? How are they doing it? It was so unbelievable the entire time. And towards the end, the match was not even done. And I'm like, this is the best tag match I've ever seen in my life, which is nuts. Because it's one thing when I say this is the best women's match, non-Japanese, when I haven't seen, I'm not versed in women's wrestling as much. I've seen plenty of tag matches. I've seen Shield tag matches. I've seen stuff that was Japanese tag matches, Young Bucks Japanese tag, shit that's next level. And I was just floored. It was that's the best one I've ever seen. I don't even know what to say about it. The entrances were amazing. There's just what can you even say? But Number 1 and number 2 were very close. They were the best matches of the year, pretty easily. So yeah, we pretty much agree on most of our lists so far. Would you like to know
here and there?
Go ahead. Okay.
I was just going to say a few variances here and there, but for the most part, yeah.
Would you like to know my mother's favorite match of the year?
God, Christmas just keeps coming. Yes! Yes!
Do you want to guess? She hasn't been watching for that long.
So this is her just favorite match of the year?
Yeah. I have her least favorite one too.
Okay. Her favorite match of the year.
Okay, hold on. I have her men's and women's favorites, and then her least favorite match.
All right. Does she watch Rampage, or does she only watch...
She does watch Rampage. She does. Yes.
For the women's match, I'll go out of my way and say, just shot in the dark here, the Britt Baker versus Abaddon match on Rampage.
Ooh, close. It's Britt Baker versus Riho.
Oh, yeah.
Which is a good match.
Yeah. Excellent.
And it was on Rampage.
Wonderful.
I think it's better than the Abaddon match, but that was a fun match too. And it was a very character-heavy match.
Yeah.
But good guess.
I was just trying to think of like fun matches where Britt gets a comeuppance and, you know.
I recommend you think the same for the men's match.
Jungle Boy versus Adam Cole.
Ooh, that's a good guess. Jungle Boy lost though. He did though.
He did lose.
But that's a good guess. I'll just give it away.
Yeah.
The Diamond Ring Battle Royal where MJF was the face. And Dante won.
Yeah.
If you think about it, it makes perfect sense because she thought it was so hilarious that MJF was.
So she wasn't confused at all.
No, it made sense. They had the whole package, and he came out, and it made sense.
Yeah.
She just thought it was fun. It was funny and fun, and yeah.
It's one of those things of like it in a wrestling, from a wrestling mind's perspective. Yeah, it's absolutely hilarious, but I oftentimes find myself like, what would a new fan think of this? And the idea of someone that you hate every week all of a sudden being cheered, I can see that being jarring, but that's, mainly thinking back to like, Bizarro World in Canada and WWE, 2000s and stuff.
Right. But if you think about it, like the less seriously the wrestling takes itself, the more simple it is to understand. It's just like, oh,
absolutely.
Okay. He's in Long Island. Okay.
It's his place of power.
Yeah, exactly. He can summon, they could use the black materia here. So, bad news. I have her worst match as well.
Oh, it was Hangman versus Bryan Danielson, right?
You guessed it.
Yeah.
But that was a hard watch for her. She's like the 60-minute whatever it was. Because she had to switch off the channel.
Yeah, it was long and brutal, like a killer.
I don't think the length was too bad. Like, I think if Dante went for 60 minutes, she'd love it. But I think it was more like, it was
Can he go for 60 minutes, or will he just burn up like a match?
Yeah, it's a good question. I don't know if, I think I'd have to tap out watching Dante Martin explode for 60. I'd be like, I can't even pay attention anymore. Like, my brain hurts. I'm getting a headache. So, I have some various random things to I don't know. We can fool around with, but
I've got a few random like categories.
Go ahead. You first.
I just had, and I'll go through this relatively quick. But these are, I'll go through mine and then that'll give you time to think about, yours.
Mm-hmm.
But this is like my top, several people that I just want to see succeed beyond expectations.
Oh.
Like, I want these people to Like, they don't necessarily have to be champions, but I want them to, like, be recognized in their field and, like, just good things happen to them.
Okay.
And, there's a little bit of a, crossover, but my number 5, she just appeared on Dynamite. She's a favorite of mine. That's Mercedes Martinez. Yeah. She is, a working mother. I love her story. I love her look. I love her wrestling. She needs to be respected more than she was, because this WWE business fucking sucked and stalled all of her momentum that she had from the Mae Young Classic, where she tore the house down.
Yep.
Agreed. So I want to see her succeed. Another woman that I want to see succeed is Layla Hirsch.
Yes.
She has a look. She has a presence. She has a wrestling style that I love.
Mm-hmm.
She is a complete workhorse in the ring. I love seeing her. Please.
Yeah.
My number 3 that I want to see succeed is Jonathan Gresham.
Okay.
Like, he is, now the hopefully not final ROH champion.
Yeah, you're right.
And there's rumor that he will be taking the ROH title and defending it in various promotions. So I hope that ROH and AEW can work something out, because I would love to see Jonathan Gresham on the main stage. I don't know if you've ever seen him wrestle, have you?
I think so. Maybe. A little bit. Not too much. Maybe like one match.
He is a technical marvel.
Nice.
I love his wrestling. He is the foundation.
Cool.
And then number 2 and 1 are people that I've already mentioned, so I won't go into much detail about, but that's Trish Adora and Darius Lockhart.
Mm-hmm.
They just need their flowers because they're so good and amazing. So, I
think
wish
things
them
are
all the best.
Things are looking up for them, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, so 3 come to mind for me, which would be Matt Seidel.
Yes.
Because I love Matt Seidel, and I am so happy he is working again, working at the top of his game. That debut botch has not hurt him at all in any way, shape, or form. Everybody was worried about it, and it didn't matter.
The only people that care are the WWE drones.
Still looks like $1 million, works like $1 million. I want this dude to have some sort of gold sometime soon. I wish I know he's doing work right now for people, but he deserves something. It's kind of silly, but Big E. It's silly because he has the title, but that is sort of suspect right now.
He got pinned a couple of weeks ago. Come on.
Yeah, and he's in a Tornado 4-Way at the pay-per-view, so it's really anybody's game, and it's not looking great.
It's going to be Bobby Lashley again. I can
probably, and even there's talk that Seth will sell out Kevin to kind of steal it in the storyline. It doesn't really. It's all shenanigans. My point is Big E's an afterthought, and that's a joke because Big E is awesome.
Sucks.
People love him. I love him. I want the best for him. I'm sure no matter what happens, he'll be okay. But I think he deserves, his time at the top.
He deserves.
Funnily enough, my guys are all kind of veterans of the business. My last guy would be Christian.
Yeah.
Which is kind of weird. I wouldn't say this isn't really a case of like I want him at the top. Although I wouldn't mind it, but he already kind of had his time in that picture. My main thing is I'm excited for a Christian heel turn, hopefully. Mm-hmm. I want him to have fun character-wise, really get into like some old, because he is such a great personality. I want him to have time.
Good.
Yeah, I'm ready for that to happen. I'm excited for that. So yeah, those are my guys. There's some other guys, but I think they tie over into some of my other suggested categories. Let's see what I have here. Most improved. I only have one person for each of these, so
I actually
one.
had this category mapped out. So yeah, I've got several people.
Okay. The main one that came to my mind was the Acclaimed, because
Oh yeah.
at the beginning of this year, I fucking hated the Acclaim. They had go away heat for me. I did not want to see them ever.
Nope.
I was like, get
Nope.
this shit. I was literally muting the stream when they showed up. That's how annoying they were to me. And now, I kind of love the Acclaimed. I think they're underrated. I think they should be on the show more. And they're already on the show quite a bit. Because Tony knows he knows.
I think we have the same opinion on this, but correct me if I'm wrong.
Uh-huh.
The reason we hated the Acclaimed at the beginning is because they were doing needless edgelord bullshit that was homophobic, misogynist, bigoted, and most of the time just in poor fucking taste.
Yeah.
And for me, I think you can be a mean, nasty heel without having to resort to those tactics.
Exactly. It was cheap heat of the worst kind. Yeah.
Yeah. The most improved in that is MJF, because whenever he first started, I was like, oh, he's going to be pretty problematic, because there were several times that he called, women fans fat whores and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And even Britt Baker. Baker, fat shamed Tony Schiavone at the beginning.
I remember that.
And no one liked that. Stalled out in a lot of, our friend Meredith, for example. That stalled a lot of Britt's, potential, to where even now she, looks at Britt Baker and goes, when are you going to say something shitty?
I think MJF still rides that line too, but he is very good at riding the line. He has learned how to do that without being go away.
And when he steps over the line, it's occasional, and it's like, okay, sure. It's not like Dan Lambert or Chris Jericho, unfortunately.
Yeah, exactly. The only other person I would put in here is God, who was I thinking of? Ethan Page. Because the first time I saw Ethan Page was in TNA, and I did like him, but it was goofy, funny, haha Ethan Page, where they killed his gimmick. Man. Yeah, which was fun, and I liked him, but it was like, I can't, I'm not supposed to take this seriously, so I don't. And I think Ethan, in AEW, he's probably not where I would have him in terms of the card, but he has to get there. But he's very, very good in my opinion. He's so excellent. Good. Yeah.
I mean, the thing is, the men of the year, Scorpio Sky and Ethan Page do not need Dan Lambert.
No.
They don't need him.
No.
Dan Lambert, honestly, after they lost and he got his balls stapled to his leg at the pay-per-view, should have went away. We shouldn't have seen Dan Lambert for 2 or 3 months.
I'm back and forth on Dan every single week. I can't decide, and I probably never will. So
yeah. But no, I love Ethan Page. Give that man a mic. He is intense and serious while also just being hilarious.
Yeah.
Because one thing that popped everyone in the Discord was whenever he was given a promo and he was like, and I just gotta say, I have the tightest tits in the business. Yep. Everyone was like, oh.
He's overflowing with personality. Yeah, he just, I don't know. He is over the top. He's amazing. He's great in the ring too. He has that it's that intensity. His stuff with Darby, I think they need to get back to that at some point. Yeah.
Yeah. God. So my most improved, I have 4 people on my list.
Sure.
Is this isn't in any specific order, but one person who has really impressed me has been the Bunny.
Yeah. I love the Bunny.
I'm not gonna lie. I watched her at the very beginning of AEW whenever she was just Allie.
Mm-hmm.
And she was pretty dog shit. I hate to say that. I hate to be mean like that, but She had like baby giraffe steps all the time. She never knew where she was supposed to be. But once, she left the orbit of QT Marshall being like his midlife crisis, which that was dog shit. Everyone forgets about that.
Yeah.
When she just full-time became the bunny again, she has done great. Her selling is phenomenal. She does really good at really selling that she's like a psychotic character, like an unhinged character, and I love it. And apparently, I've seen a few pictures going around.
I was gonna ask about this.
I've only seen the one picture, and I
me
keep
too.
scrolling, but I've seen it.
Yeah.
Apparently, the street fight between Ty Conti and Anna Jay versus the Bunny and Penelope Ford gets buck
crazy.
wild.
Yep. I saw the picture. I was like, uh-oh. I need to watch Rampage, apparently.
Yep. So my next is Powerhouse Hobbs. I love him. He's one of those where it wasn't that he was bad starting off, but he was bland.
Yes, I agree.
He didn't have much going for him. And then he did like the heel turn angle on Moxley, where, him and Mox like teamed up, which I thought was pretty good.
Yeah.
And then every week that I see him and he wrestles, he gets better and better and better.
Yeah, underrated
Love
promo
him.
too, because he cut a promo on Dynamite. I was like, he's good on the mic. They should give him a mic.
Yes.
Yeah.
Team Taz is underrated, and once again, I think that's due to unfortunate injury timings, and then also the Brian Cage stuff, which that's weird. I don't know who's being shitty to who. I'm
kind of see, anytime I see Brian Cage stuff crop up on Twitter, I just ignore it, because it's just all these people. Like, I don't know what it is about Brian Cage. I think it's that he has the WWE look, and he's not a star in AEW. So what happens is all the WWE people like flock to him. They're like, this guy hates in AEW, and he should go over and he should be a star. And all the people in AEW are like, he's underperforming, and it's like, it's just hate all around. So I always just look at it like, I kind of like Brian Cage. I don't even see the problem.
I love Brian Cage. Like his match with Hangman was amazing. His 2 matches against Hangman were great.
And he's been out for a while, and I don't know why, and it's none of my business. And if he wants to go elsewhere, he can go. It's. I wish him nothing, but I like the dude. So anytime I see him trending, I'm like, I could give 2 fucks about any of this. Yeah, like, this is just people stroking their egos, so I don't care. But yeah, Team Taz has been very good. Yeah.
Number 2 for me is Sonny Kiss, actually.
Yeah.
Sonny in a single match has turned it around for me. Because like she had a problem at the very beginning where everything was too light and she didn't quite know where she was supposed to be.
Yeah.
But her time working with Joey Janela, even though it's been like stretched out far too much, done amazing and has absolutely sold me. I want to see Sonny Kiss on the main show. Absolutely.
Yeah. This might have been before 2021, but Sonny Kiss is one of my strikes against Kenny Omega that puts him at number 3. I don't care if it was last year. I still don't understand why that happened, but hey.
Jobbing Sonny out like that was fucked up.
And Kenny's expression and the way it's just like so shitty. I was like, come on. Come on. Anyway.
Got to get that heel heat, brother. Yeah. Bully Ray was
Bully
sitting
Ray
there with
loved
the thermostat and just,
Yeah.
Those Bully Ray thermostat memes, keep them coming.
Yeah.
I love it. And then number 1, for me, Ty Conti.
Wow, okay.
I saw her whenever she was in WWE, in NXT, and like she
Okay.
had something.
You have more
Like,
context than me, yeah.
Yeah, like she was very green, but I saw something. She had like something going where I was just like, she has it.
Mm-hmm.
And every week that she wrestles, she gets better and better. Like, is she on top of the world? No.
Mm-hmm.
Her match with Britt Baker, unfortunately, like, showed a few of those flaws that she still needs to work on.
I thought that was one of her better matches, so.
yeah, no, it was her best match that she's ever had.
Yeah.
But there was still, like, for me, the more I think about that match, the more it shows that Britt still has weaknesses to shore up. They're both, relatively newer, 4 to 6 years in the business. But Ty Conti is great. I love her to death, and she's amazing to me.
Awesome. Well, you'll probably want to skip my next one, because it's negative. It's most overrated. I only have one person for any of these, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
So I had a tie with Brian Pillman Jr., but I think I'd take him off because no one really likes Brian Pillman Jr., so it's not a big deal.
Yeah.
No, I mean, who I picked for this is, me healing out on everybody, which is Jade Cargill. Because Bert doesn't care about Jade Cargill. He doesn't care.
Yeah.
And even after, I mean, I think last night was one of her best matches that I've seen, and I still was like, it was pretty good.
Yeah. She's still
smoke and mirrors, and it was all right.
Yeah, she's still not there yet. I think that is a fair criticism.
It's more that she's being pushed to the moon and everybody loves her, which to me is like, I'll see. Skeptic.
I think she has an albatross around her neck that is not her ring work, and that is Smart Mark Sterling.
Yeah, get the fucking manager out of the picture, please. Yes.
When the thing that made me go, oh, I love Jade, and I think this was a little bit before you started watching, was she had single taped promos that were like, the cinematic promo.
Yeah.
And she killed it with those.
Pre-tapes,
like, she got her character across. It was good. I was like, oh, this is awesome. And so she appeared, looked like a goddess, got in the ring, squashed someone with, the glam slam.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah, did the big boot, the glam slam, and I said, oh, okay. And that, I've rode that high the entire time. Yeah. But I'm not so blind that I don't go, yeah, I see what your problem with her is.
It's mainly her strikes.
Yeah.
Her selling's actually, I think her selling has come a long way, and it's very good. It's mainly the strikes. And that's something that is a small thing that is relatively simple to fix. It just is going to take time.
You see, the thing is, I think that if someone's strikes aren't that good, you know what they should focus on? Doing, like, body checks and shoulder blocks.
I agree, yes.
And
or just changing it up somehow. Doing something different, yeah.
Yeah, or drop kicks. Like,
yeah.
I've seen people where they're bad at strikes, and they continue to be bad at strikes whenever they have a physique that would more closely work with doing, body checks and shoulder strikes. Like, think back to Goldberg. Goldberg's strikes suck.
Right.
That's why he does shoulder blocks.
Right. I will say also, this is purely AEW because that's what I watch. Like, if I was watching WWE, oh, for God's sake, it'd be like The Miz or something. Like, or The Fiend if he was wrestling this year. Like, it would not even be anything approaching AEW. So, I'm being, I'm nitpicking if I have to.
So let's see. Overrated. For me, and I have watched probably more WWE than you.
Probably.
I'm going to make people pretty mad with this one.
I think I know this one. Go ahead, though.
But I have watched the promos. I have watched some of the matches. I've seen everything that there is to offer, but Roman Reigns is still not that good.
I don't think it's that great. It's better, but that's like the lamest low-hanging curve you could possibly, because Roman was the dirt worst. So of course heel Roman is, we wanted him to turn heel for years. So I think it's more the case that people wanted it for years. So when it finally happened, they were like, we finally got it. So they overemphasize how good it is.
Oh, it's underwhelming.
Yeah, it's just a thing.
He's doing the exact same thing is the problem. He comes out, he doesn't say much, and who did you think I was going to say?
Oh, Sasha Banks.
Oh, gotcha.
Which... she's had a kind of year, so that's fine. Yeah. But I don't think Sasha's bad in the ring. But she is, in terms of overrated. Holy crap! You want to talk about fan bases?
Woof.
But Roman is, I would say he's right in the same area where it's like,
whoa,
I get it. The Wake Pheasant thing. Yeah, I agree with that.
My name's Woman.
No, you woman. I love your woman wings. This is what gets us in trouble.
I got the Paul Wayman. Yeah.
Well, he doesn't reign. Oh, no. Will he lose to Brock Lesnar?
Whose side is he on?
I don't know.
Fuck
Can they coexist?
Off.
Like,
also, like, Brock Lesnar, come the fuck on. Like, ooh, I would
You're
say,
preaching
like,
to the wrong choir, buddy. I love Brock, but I'd love it if he killed Roman. He should have had a program with Keith Lee, for God's sake. Big boys. Like, he knew what was up. He had something good. They never did anything because they're stupid. They turned him into Wildcat. And then, listen, it's all stupid. WWE, it's terrible. No. Do you have a category?
Yeah, this is my final category.
Oh, okay, I have a few more small ones.
And this one just kind of segues into the Wild Pegasus stuff. But
worst person.
These are three people that just need to go away. I'm talking they need to be erased from wrestling history going forward.
Okay.
They need to fall off a cliff. No one mourn. No one say anything. They need to go.
Sure.
Coming in at number 3 is the pedophile Marty Scurll.
He's still around.
Yeah.
Kind of. Yeah,
he was wrestling he was still wrestling some matches in like ROH and stuff. I think it was either ROH or Impact.
Okay.
But yeah, like he didn't even have the decency of Joey Ryan to just fucking go.
Sure.
Now, granted, Joey Ryan got pulled out kicking and screaming, going, I didn't, have sex with that underage girl, which the pictures prove otherwise, my dude.
Yeah.
And Marty has refused and thinks he can just, villain on through it and go away. Go the fuck away.
Sure. That's number 3. Uh-oh. Number 3 is the pedophile. Wow, wrestling. Go ahead.
Number 2, the rapist.
Okay.
Mike Elgin.
I bet the number 1's going to be a rapist pedophile. Go ahead. Mike Elgin. I can't believe Mike Elgin's still around. I know he does work, but yeah, I haven't heard from that dude in years. He was at the beginning. Yeah.
Yeah, he was at the beginning of the year, like, still doing stuff, and he started to even, like, slightly come back, like, people were willing to just be like, oh, well, it was allegations or whatever, which, like, I can't prove it, but I'm pretty sure, like, through my own detective work, I know who he raped, and that's a shame. I will not, say who it is or anything, but... the thing is sexual assault and rape.
Wild Pegasus. Wild Pegasus. Wild Pegasus. Wild Pegasus. Wild.
Also, earlier this year, he had a domestic dispute with his ex-fiancée, which finally that seems to be the nail in the coffin. Mike Elgin, the rapist, go away.
Number 1.
Number one. Now,
Rapist
granted,
pedophile. Go ahead.
this guy's crimes are not as egregious as Marty and Mike's.
Sure.
But he is the reason that Marty and Mike and people like Joey Ryan are able to do the things that they do and get away with it, which kind of makes them in a category all their own and elevates it. And that is the rapist denier / cover-upper Will Ospreay. You need to go the fuck away. This whole boo-hoo, I'm a small bean bullshit, I don't buy it. No one should buy it. If they do, they are a child, and I would like to dangle car keys in front of your face.
Yeah.
Because that's what you are if you believe anything that Will Ospreay fucking says.
Belt looks like
Go to
shit,
hell.
too, by the way.
The belt looks like shit. Does
Fuck
he
off.
even have it?
I don't
There's
think so.
3 of them running around, isn't
Yeah,
there?
NJPW is a fucking mess right now. It is a wacko
I mean,
mess. And Will
Shingo-
Ospreay ain't fucking helping. Get that fucking dude out of the picture.
No, Jesus.
Just
like,
drop that dude like a
Shingo-
bad habit. Yeah.
Yeah. Shingo whips. I love seeing Shingo
Shingo's great.
Takagi.
Yeah.
But
Ishii
the fact that
yeah.
yeah. But the fact that they're having to work through this bullshit, and then I'm surprised that every time they have a match with Will Ospreay, like Will Ospreay doesn't just like slip from their grasp like a bar of soap because of how fucking greasy and dirty he is as a person.
Yeah. Well, I'm just gonna say Vince McMahon. Because I think once Vince McMahon dies, I think once he's dead, honestly, things might not be so bad. I mean, I know the shareholders will take over and it'll be a fucking cluster and it'll be terrible, but just
It'll be different.
yes, exactly. It'll be something different at fucking least. Like, the dude killed NXT and is releasing all these fucking people. Just once this dude is gone, I swear, I think things will at least be a modicum better.
So, I'm going to get ahead of this one.
Oh, yeah?
And the thing is, as a victim of child abuse, just like Vince McMahon was a victim of child abuse, I have a soft spot for him. But I have to say, my childhood trauma has never caused me to demean, hurt, actively harm, destroy people's livelihoods, cover up a murder, cover up sexual assault, cover up rapes. It has never made me do any of those things. So,
Good job.
when Vince McMahon... yeah,
Pat on the back.
let me just...
Hold on, I have a word here for that.
oh shit, yeah. I bet it's the plaque's
Anthony.
pretty big. Can the plaque
It's
be very
really
big,
huge.
but the
It's a little tiny.
the trophy is really tiny?
Yeah. It's just an upside down
and-
version of that fucking Osprey belt. I fucking hate that belt. Anyway.
But everyone wants to go, whenever someone dies, everyone wants to fucking, well, you gotta hand it to them. And I'm not. When Vince McMahon dies, I am going to dance on his grave. I am going to do everything that I can. Everything that I can to be a party pooper and really shit on everyone's parade.
Yeah.
Because just because someone's dead does not mean they are a deity.
Nope. Okay. So, best gear.
Yeah.
If you can think of best gear.
Best gear.
I have a tie. It's between Leo Rush, because I like his, I don't know what the fuck it is, but it looks cool. It's between
His Power Rangers onesie.
yeah. It's between Leo Rush and Hook.
Oh.
Because Hook's gear is very, very good.
It's perfect.
It just fits. You got an idea?
Let's see. Best gear. God.
Who has kick pads? Who has garbage bag pants?
Who looks like a dime store Jeff Hardy? I'll say best gear, and this is all-time best gear. Mike
okay.
Quackenbush. No, I'm kidding.
Luthez. Vern Gagne. It's a tough one.
God, there's just so many. Like,
yeah,
I don't even have an answer just because it's,
that's fine.
Blowing my mind.
Well, it's Cody, obviously.
Yeah. I will say, like, she doesn't have the best ring gear, but, like, her ring gear accentuates her as a person, and I would love to see more of her personality, and that's Jamie Hayter.
Yeah, she's got cool gear.
Like, she, comes out with that fur coat. Like, I haven't seen anyone in a fur coat in a minute that wasn't, like, selling ladies.
It's hot. It's in Jacksonville. You get all gassed before the match. Yeah, but I like her gear a lot.
Yeah, I like her gear a lot. I mean, as far as, like, an entrance goes, like a one-off, the Dark Order for the 10-man tag against the Elite, where everyone had matching Dark Order / cowboy gear.
Oh,
amazing.
yeah. That's right. That was
amazing.
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Best character. I'm going to let you answer first because I'm going to be different. Probably.
Best character for me. Oh. So, like, naturally I would naturally say Hangman because I talked about how much his story has meant, but for someone that connects on a deep down personal level that is beyond description, that is Eddie Kingston.
Sure. Like, I went with, yeah. I mean, I agree. Eddie, it's kind of like I don't even think of Eddie's, I know it is a character, but I don't think of it as, it's just who Eddie is. Which is the best kind, honestly. I don't hate that. I went with Miro.
Because, God.
So, yeah, we haven't mentioned Miro at this point, but Miro turned chicken shit into chicken salad. Like, that man, I mean, the best man thing was, it was not really going anywhere, but Miro was awesome anyway, so we gave him a pass. And then it was like, oh, I'm the Redeemer now. I was like, oh, dude.
Off to the fucking races.
He just figured that shit out so quick, and it was like, oh, okay, I can do this.
Miro has... So, this is what lets you know that Miro is an extremely intelligent person.
Yeah.
Because, like, his English technically is not that good, but I think that's just due to muscle memory and learning another language is, like, difficult for a lot of people.
Yeah.
But his understanding of the English language is bar none.
Yeah.
Because in every promo, he knows to say things that are scary, intense, and oftentimes poetic.
Yeah.
But then he puts in that little bit that makes you laugh.
Yeah.
Makes you absolutely die laughing.
Yeah. He knows how to, like, play to the crowd at the exact right time. Just enough. Just the smallest amount.
You are trying to deny me my hot, flexible wife.
Yeah.
What? You were just talking about the ending trumpets of the apocalypse.
Yeah. Yeah, I love Miro. And then I have best theme as my last song.
That is so hard because AEW has put out some bangers.
Got some good themes. Yeah. They've got it better than it was. Like, I still like, I mean, it was good, but, like, now it's like almost everybody's got a good theme now.
Yeah, Mikey Ruckus has knocked it out of the park. Yeah. Fucking MVP Mikey Ruckus.
Yeah.
So, like, I'll have two answers to this just because I want to mention this, and just to mention something from WWE. You want to know what my favorite theme of all time is?
I think we might have been over this, but what is it?
It is Tommaso Ciampa's No One Will Survive.
Oh, yeah, I don't like that, but I am glad you like it.
I like it because it, like, Ciampa in his run against Johnny Gargano came out 2 times to complete silence. No,
I remember that, yeah.
like, no music, but the crowd was, like, baying for his blood.
Yeah.
And then whenever he came out with, the No One Will Survive, it was perfect. It was good. It encapsulated everything about that character's arc.
Mm-hmm.
Real weird. I would have figured you would have liked it because it was like Screamo.
Not really. That's actually pretty ironic though, because, well, ironically, I liked Malachi's NXT theme a lot. The Code Orange song, because I like Code Orange, and they did that one performance of it, which I think is one of the better theme performances.
Yeah.
No man is ever truly good. That thing. And my pick actually is Malachi's current song, because that song fucking rules. Like, I heard it live, I was like, oh, this is the best. I like screaming. I just don't like. I don't like new metal. This is a problem. So No One Will Survive is a little. It's not like that, but you know what I mean. It's a little less intense, and I mean it is intense with the screaming, but the music is not as.
Even whenever the violins kick in,
that's the problem. I don't want any violins. Come on.
What? Come on. Violins and music rules.
I like it in music, just not. This is like a total preference. I mean, in terms of good themes, Ciampa's is total. It's like when people go like, I love Randy Orton's original. Hey, nothing you can say. Like, I get it. Like, yeah. It's a good theme. It's a dumb song. I would never listen to it. Yeah. It's that kind of thing. Like, Ciampa's thing fits and it's good. I just don't actually like the song by itself. Yeah. Whereas Malachi's song, I would just listen to. I'd be like, this song rules. Yeah.
Honorable mention for themes. Doesn't get played too much. And this might be out of left field, but I really like Sean Spears' solo theme.
I don't think I've heard that. Oh, wait, maybe I've heard it once. I think it was good. I can't remember.
Yeah, it's very good. It's a good, like, hip-hop beat, and I can't remember much of the lyrics to it, but it just goes hard.
Nice.
I really like it.
I like the Best Friends theme.
Yeah.
But it's kind of sucks, because every time they come out with Orange, and they just play Oranges. I mean, it's not a bad song, but, like, I want to hear the Best Friends theme.
That one perfectly encapsulates Orange Cassidy, though. Like, that one's very good.
I also have a bad subconscious feeling that I'm kind of coming around to MJF's music. And that is
it's very good.
It's the most intentionally shitty music, though, that it kind of, like, goes all the way back around and wins. I'm like, it's kind of banging, though. It kind of, like, works, even though it's. I think it's the fucking tubas or that. It sounds so dumb, but like, it just works. I don't know why. It's cheap. Yes.
Like, a lot of the thing of MJF is he's playing a rich character who does not have taste. There's a bunch of people that, like, you've interacted with, probably on the wrong side of the fucking register, where you've encountered, like, a rich person who has, like, no taste but more money than Croesus.
Yeah.
And MJF is like embodying that because he thinks his music is good.
Yeah, it's very fitting because it's a guilty pleasure type. I kind of, the minute it goes into that wah, 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 wah thing, I'm like, this is kind of good. I hate it, but it's good.
I'll tell you who does have really good theme music. That is Wardlow.
Yeah, I like his. His is kind of like Archer's for me.
Yeah, like Archer's, I like it, but it has to hit certain parts of the song for me to like it.
Yeah, that's like Kenny's for me. Like Kenny's is it takes too long to get to the good part, so if they cut it, it's great. Like basically, once it gets to the "Are you ready to go? Are you ready for this?" The big breakdown. That part rules. But like the whole in the no, you could get rid of that.
When you
That's
see
fine.
the one-wing angel cry.
Yeah, it's very AMV DBZ nonsense.
Dun, 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 dun. I love it because I'm a sucker for that horse shit.
I do like it. It's just the best part needs to be a little front loaded on the show so I can get to it. You know what I mean? Like it's that kind of thing. Somebody else has a theme like, Punk's theme, his old his Kill Switch theme was like that.
Oh yeah. That one
Like if he doesn't take too long to come out and they cut it before it gets to the good part, it's like, why even fucking bother? Like the song rules, you need to let it get to that part. So yeah. But yeah, that is all I had. Okay.
Good stuff. Year in review, baby.
Yeah. And then next year we'll have, Hook as all 5 entries and all 10 entries.
I was told by a certain someone that I am making them dislike Hook because of my enthusiasm, and that's a real bummer to me.
That's why I disliked Hook to begin with. I didn't dislike him, but it was the same as Jade. I was very skeptical on whether I was like, I know y'all are doing the memes, so I'm just gonna wait till he has the actual match to get into this at all. I'm not playing this game. No, thank you. I'm still kind of there. I mean, look, everything's working right now and it's great, but like, I'm not about to pretend he's
I mean,
God's
that's
gift to
the
wrestling.
thing, like,
I gotta give him a chance. Give him some space.
I think it is fun to be able to organically, like, even if it's a joke, get in on the ground floor of like someone's career.
Sure.
And Hook is one of those people, like, while AEW has definitely built some of their younger talent, they still came from somewhere.
Right.
Like, Sammy Guevara still came from, like, Lucha Underground and the Indies. And Hook is quite possibly, besides, like, Jade or Anthony Ogogo, Brock Anderson, Shoddy Lee, is someone that we are getting to see them start out, like, before our very eyes. And the fact that Hook had this presence, even if it was goofy, like, was very fun to me.
Yeah.
And it's very fun to have, like, someone that you ironically are like, yeah, they're the best, to kind of, like, get under the nerves of other people a little bit. I don't agree with, like, taking it to the hilt.
But Anthony, he no-sold that move and killed the business. So the business is dead. We're not even going to have it 2022 because wrestling is over.
Hook killed wrestling.
Yeah, it's over. It's all super dead. Rip. These were the best matches of the last year of wrestling after Hook killed it by no-selling a Rikishi driver. The most deadly move in history. Rikishi won world titles with that move. What's he gonna no-sell next? The stink face? Like, come on now.
So, I know this might be like, kicking a dead horse, beating a puppy while it's down.
That's what Hook did to wrestling.
That's what Hook did to wrestling. But I do want to end with a tweet series that I found very funny.
The Wild Pegasus.
No, not really. This is probably someone who's 12 years old and doesn't know any better, but they put it, I hope it's not an adult, because if you have this brain, you are very dumb, but it was a WWE stan who, if you remember a couple of months ago, there was rumors that NJPW and WWE were going to, like, start working together, which that all fell through. It never happened, but there was a tweet that got dug up by a WWE Stan account. There was a women's Stan account. Like, their profile picture was like Shotzi and Sasha.
Right.
I don't remember, but one of those we've seen those.
Liv Morgan or one baby Liv Morgan or whatever the fuck parody account.
Yeah,
fucking nonsense. Go
And
ahead.
their tweet was, WWE and New Japan are working together. Imagine all of the classic women's matches that are going to happen. All of the women from WWE that are going to work with the New Japan women.
The New Japan women, yeah. Everybody knows about them. Like, Okada-kun? Wait, hold on. There are women in New Japan. There was that one bunny lady who came out with Evil, I think. Right?
Yeah.
Los Ingobernables.
Imagine.
Yeah, she's a woman.
Yeah.
She probably wrestles, right?
Yeah. The New Japan women's division is very strong.
It's huge, yeah.
So,
would you like to explain the joke to the folks at home? My mom is listening, going, "What the hell are they talking about?"
So, New Japan Pro Wrestling, they are specifically a men's league.
Yeah, they don't have
of wrestling. Like, so, because in Japan there is a thriving Joshi scene, women's wrestling scene, there are different companies that are exclusively for women. And this isn't like an exclusionary thing. It isn't.
They're just separate for different reasons.
They're separate because they each have a viable business model going forward. Because, like, let's be serious. Over here in America, there is a serious misogyny problem.
Yeah, and a lack of women in the audience as well. Like, women don't watch wrestling near as much as men do.
Yeah. Like, I've been noticing the trend change a lot. Like, if you notice, several of the last AEW shows, there were little girls in the front row. I'm talking like 10, 11-year-olds who were like losing their shit. Yeah. So it is getting there, and I really want to see that because wrestling is for everybody. Except for the bad people who do like, misogyny shit and like, that real bad shithead who had the sign. Yeah. I hope he is Minecraft in a gutter somewhere.
I was glad they kicked him out, but yeah.
Absolutely. Because that was another thing, like, yes, AEW drops the ball on certain things, and they don't do great all the time. But it is good to see that they held up their end of the bargain whenever they say at the beginning of every show that you will not say bigoted things, you will not be a shithead. Yes, you can interact with the heels, but there is a vast difference between going, boo, I hate MJF, he sucks, or even saying fuck you to MJF. You can be crass to someone, but when you are doing it based on their gender identity, their race or anything, that's the fucking line. Yeah. You cannot do that. Like, you can do that, but expect to get kicked out. Expect to, like, be shouted down. Expect to have repercussions. And it was good to see AEW follow up on that.
Yeah, it's good. Well.
And so that's the good note. The shithead got kicked out, and wrestling is safe for another 2 days before Hook has killed wrestling. So we have 2 more days of wrestling, everybody.
He's not wrestling this weekend.
No, but he killed the business. So
I see what you're saying. Till the year rolls over. I see. Yeah.
Yeah, everyone was nice enough to let everyone, get some time.
Yeah, I think what'll happen is Taz is going to do the analysis. And so he's going to analyze, like, look, this is how you beat the Rikishi driver. You just don't sell it because the business is all fake. And then everybody will be like, well, it's dead. It's over. Yeah.
Taz, just no context, posting pictures of him smoking cigars is also very fucking good.
He's a funny guy. Okay.
Love him.
Well, that's a wrap up for 2021. We'll see you next year.
We'll return back in the past with regularly scheduled.
I don't know it. Nobody know what was in the past. It's fine.
Well, no, it's in the future.
Okay.
Are you feeling what I'm feeling, Bert? Right now, the feelings?
What? What are we talking about? I don't know what we're talking about.
Yeah, neither did Brock.
Brock Anderson?
Yep, it was Brock Anderson, another killer of the business.
Push Brock Anderson. I love that kid.
Yes,
He looks just like Arn.
unironically, push Brock Anderson.
Push him into Malachi.
The buzzsaw that is Malachi.
Okay.
I mean, right now, push, Brian Pillman Jr. into him because maybe Malachi can kick some sense into that man before it's too late.
Next week. All right.
Yep.
We'll see you later. Thanks for listening.
Bye.
Bye.